That's it. Check. There we go. All right. Hold on. Hey, Cheddar. Hey, Josiah. I was making sure get the video ready. Whenever we get to that part. Hey, Jonathan. Hold on a second. I can move that fan over to me now. Where it is. So we can actually. No, not there. Give me 1 second, guys. Right now, close to me now, so I can actually feel it set up on the other side of the bed. Oh no. There we go. That works. All right. How are we feeling tonight? How you charge that? Yeah. There we go. All right, that's good. That's you doing all right there, Cheddar. Great video, by the way, too, man. Really enjoyed it. Matter of fact, let me pull that baby right up real fast before we get on with the subject of the video that we were going to discuss. Let's go 1 second, actually. And
flip through the book, look back and you'll find pressed in the pages are moments in time, a still memory, so we can all see that we had some really good times.
We've had such great adventures and they're so fun to see. You guys are my best
like
friends, the best there could be. I can't wait to see what our future will bring. We'll have some really good times.
We can't wait to see what our future will bring.
ouch.
We'll have some really good times.
I just love looking at these old pictures. It brings back so many good memories.
Yeah, that did not happen.
Oops. Okay. Yeah, I did. I did say I was going to mention it in the 2.0 video. Actually, one of my favorite parts is, let me just go back. I like.
You'll find pressing moments in time, so we can all see that we had some really good times.
We've had such great adventures.
Like this first part, he has such great adventure, and this just foreshadowed. But my favorite part, actually, that you really did was right here.
Pictures and they're so fun to see.
Wow, that sums that line up very well. So I think I see what you did. You just went to the you went by year, which is really good, by the way. I actually like how you cool like that little picture of Bella, um, and it's like they're so fun to see, and it's like, yeah, it explains it.
You guys are my best friends, the best there could be. I can't wait to see what
Yes, beautiful Greensboro. That's a good one too, dude.
our future will bring. We'll have some really good times.
We can't wait to see what our future will bring.
Ouch.
We'll have some really good times.
Now that's gonna like live rent free in my head for so many times. So every time I hear that song and I hear that line where Chucky's like, he has such great adventures, that's gonna live rent like that video you made is gonna live like rent free in my head. So every time I think about that iconic line that Chucky says, I'm gonna think of your video now because just something about it. But great video. Also, I like how you added the your little end cards right here too at towards close to the end of the video. That's actually nice.
I just love looking at these old pictures. It brings back so many good memories.
Yeah, that did not happen.
But all right, enough with the fun stuff tonight. Well, that little fun. Let's continue on with Sully's Muppet video, recent Muppet video, and it's right there in the middle, staring at our soul. So just a little recap. We cover a little bit about Steve Whitmire. Steve Whitmire is a guy who needs no introduction. Of course, you know, he has this really big controversy that's been happening for a long time now, actually. And of course, as around last month, the Muppet Show special came out. It was good. It was awesome. And of course, Steve has something to say. We are on the part with Frog with a blog. So this is going to be a real chunk hold of the video. So prepare yourself because we had learned about, Matt Vogel's Kermit and his appearances and stuff. So now we get to hear Steve's response to all the outrage and cryings of where did our little froggy go, about the tribute bands and other stuff. So strap right in because this is going to be a real doozy. I just hope that I left out the right mark for it. Yes, I did.
Camilla Lackberg's best-selling mystery novels brought to life in this series of gripping TV.
Wait, I can skip it.
Whole video talking about this singular recast, but we do not have time for that. So with this new era of the Muppets and the return to form of the classic Muppet Show,
my apologies. I did watch some of the video the other day, so I'm continuing off right here. My fault.
Things really seem to be looking up for the Muppets for the first time in many, many years. But if only it could be that simple.
How far with a vlog?
As all Muppet fans were gearing up for the return of the Muppet Show in early 2026 and generally spreading good vibes around, out from the woodworks came Steve Whitmire with his first public statement on the status of the Muppets in many years. With just weeks to go until the triumphant return of the Muppets to our screens, on January 9th, 2026, Steve Whitmire released a blog post titled, "Where, oh where has our little frog gone?" This 3,000-word behemoth of a blog post tackles a lot, and whether it's the right choice for the runtime of this video or not, we're going to read through the whole thing. Genuinely, things get even messier here, and so I want to read through it and interject occasionally with my thoughts, because after reading this initially, I had A lot of them. I have no clue how long this is going to take, so if you want to skip past all of this, I'll link somewhere the time code when I'm done reading through this. 10 years ago, I published the statement that I wanted Muppet fans to be the smartest fans in the world. I want you to have access to an in-depth understanding of the inside workings of the Muppets because you already have a connection to them, and I think you should at least be given the opportunity to gain even deeper insights as to why that attraction might be waning a bit now. There are tangible reasons as to why you might be feeling that way, and that is the purpose of this post. If your attraction isn't waning, then this post is likely not for you. I appreciate him telling me right off the bat that this post is not going to be for me, but onward we go. What prompted me to write this is seeing literally thousands of comments and receiving as many messages and emails over the last 10 years from people like you, people who sense that Kermit the Frog's days are numbered. In both cases, most of the criticisms are from casual viewers, not deeply devoted Muppet fans.
So I want to take a pause right here. So to the people who wrote this deed saying that, who sense that Kermit days are numbered, would that mean also like the Muppets days are numbered as well? Because I know, like, you know, when Disney bought the Muppets, they wasn't really in a good like space, and some projects wasn't that good. I mean, besides the ones that we had recently, right? But that's just say like, okay, if Kermit's days are numbered, or the Muppets as a whole days are numbered, because I know a lot of people were saying that. Well, in the past, at least, when it came to Disney and all, saying that, oh, it looks like we won't see anything new with the Muppets lately. I mean, this is way before the special and a lot of other great projects came out. But wow, we just sent around a frog for it. It's crazy. If Kurt was to be numbered, it would be likely imply he'll be outcast or something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That says to me that it's the public at large that senses something has gone wrong. Like I've mentioned earlier, I think that is mostly due to the fact that Matt has not been given a lot of projects to do Kermit in. So once again, the general public at large might be seeing his performance for the first time, which is rightfully disorienting. I think given enough time, the general public would and will adjust to Matt's Kermit, much like they did to Steve Whitmire's Kermit nearly 30 years ago. I am told that within the Disney performer circle, and this is important, all of these people are written off as being haters and are ignored. I've even touched on the hater aspect specifically in saying that I wanted to write them off as haters, but I just don't think that's the case. Matt Vogel has even been outspoken that he understands why people are upset because they grew up with Steve as their Kermit, and that he doesn't judge them for that.
There's a whole generation of people whose Kermit is Steve Whitmire, and I get it, and that is okay. You know, I do not hold anything against them, but my job is to do the best that I can do with my version of Jim Henson's version of Kermit the Frog.
From Kermit's performer himself, he does not label these people as just haters. However, it's an awful lot of people, and honestly, the vast majority of the comments and messages I see aren't hateful, they are discerning. There's a big difference. After a decade to adjust, what is before them obviously doesn't work, and ignoring the problem increases it. Again, they have not been given a decade to adjust. The Disney has not done anything noteworthy with the
Disney. I like how he says that. He said the Disney. Instead of saying Disney, he just flat out just say the Disney. It actually gives a ring to it.
Muppets in the past 10 years, in my opinion. So I think it's unfair.
Wait, what did he say?
Of people, and honestly, the vast majority of the comments and messages I see aren't hateful, they are discerning. There's a big difference. After a decade to adjust, what is before them obviously doesn't work, and ignoring the problem increases it. Again, they have not been given a decade to adjust. The Disney has not done anything noteworthy with the Muppets in the past 10 years, in my opinion. So
well, okay. I think you mean the Disney company. No. I was saying like they haven't done anything trustworthy with the Muppets in the past 10 years. I mean, I can't. It's kind of debatable, but you know, that's why I was writing back. I wasn't really writing back because the Disney part. I like that line, but not the Disney. We'll run it one more time. I was talking about the trustworthy part. Okay, one more time. Screw you ads. You got tired of them real fast.
The board found new ground to assimilate.
Ping pong ball eyes hops around.
Oh Lord. Oh lordy. I went too fast. Wait, did I? I did. Oh lordy. Wait, my bad. Sorry. There we go.
Them obviously doesn't work, and ignoring the problem increases it. Again, they have not been given a decade to adjust. The Disney has not done any.
See, it sounds like get okay. It sounds like it. Well, let's just say he said "but Disney" and he just say "the." You know what? Forget. Continue.
Anything noteworthy with the Muppets in the past 10 years.
Noteworthy. I feel like. Let me stop.
In my opinion. So I think it's unfair to say that the audience has been adjusting to Matt's Kermit for 10 years. When at best,
that makes sense. It's about Matt's Kermit. Not okay. I'm thinking of something else. My bad.
They've been seeing like one video clip of him a year. Also, there are fans who think that as long as something green with ping pong ball eyes hops around on a screen, it constitutes Kermit the Frog.
Hey, we're gonna talk about ping pong ball eyes, bro. But what the? I mean, I get it. Yeah, his eyes are made out of ping pong balls, but why is that? Come on, bro. Can you blame me? Because I'm highly convinced something green with ping pong ball eyes, even though his eyes were not that great in the newer puppet styles of Kermit. That's still Kermit. Okay.
Further sentiments are expressed essentially saying that something is better than nothing.
Right.
What a sad state of affairs in memory of Jim Henson. I love the fans, but with respect, and I do have great respect for Muppet fans, on these couple of points you are mistaken. This is kind of a trend that you'll see along a lot of his posts where he basically says,
right, go.
I'm about to say something that could be perceived as disrespectful, but I'm going to frame it in a way that you couldn't possibly view it as disrespectful. Like there are...
Well, actually... Now that I think about it, Jonathan, it is Disney. They can easily make golf balls out of Kermit's eyes. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that all of the Kermits that was in the TVs and stuff had ping pong ball eyes. I would not be highly convinced that some of them were golf balls, actually.
A couple of things that he says that are just pure disrespect to his colleagues, but then he puts in a parenthetical, but I love them still. Kermit, as Jim created him, contains years of depth and growth. Without default attention to that, do you really believe it's Kermit just because it looks like him? He is the top of the Muppet pyramid, the spoke in the middle of the Muppet wheel around which all things Muppet revolve. And without Kermit being fully intact with all his historical depth, there is no future for the Muppets. No new directions, no exploitative reboots, nothing that nurtures the historical connection to you, the audience. That connection, as it originally established, is vital.
Okay, so I just want to take this line right here. Kermit as Jim Henson created him, considering years of depth and growth. Without default attention to that, do you really believe it's Kermit because it looked like him? He's at the top of the Muppet pyramid, the spoke in the middle of the Muppet reel, around with all things Muppet revolves. And without Kermit being fully attached with all historical depths, there is no future for the Muppets. No new direction, no exploitative reboots, nothing that nurture the historical connection to you, the audience. That connection is as richly established as... Yeah, he's... Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Saying Kermit is top of the Muppet pyramid, he's the face of the Muppet brand. Granted, there's been a lot of other Muppet projects that's did good without Kermit in it, but maybe I'm just missing the plot so far, so I don't know.
Please note that I am relaunching this post after a flawed technical attempt due to unforeseen circumstances with the websites. Yes, full disclosure, the initial post of this blog post was written in all caps, which obviously gives off a certain tone, but that was not his intention, and here we are. If you and I have an in-person conversation, you're likely to interpret what I say differently than if you read something I have written. The interpretation of written opinions is left with the reader to add tone and attitude despite the intentions of the author. I want to say that while the handful of you who saw it and commented the first time around seemed to resonate with the content by taking it in much the way I intended, there were folks who clearly misinterpreted my intent as egotistical and mean.
Which you clearly much are, but we're just going to gloss over that. Can we just get to the juicy part?
Full disclosure, I did reach out to Steve a couple of times over the past month or so asking if he'd be happy to talk about this subject more because I know that it's really easy to misinterpret someone when you aren't hearing their actual voice. I never got a response, and I don't think I will at this point. That sort of misinterpretation is bound to happen no matter what, but my hope is that deeper explanations can help, since evidently skimming the surface of this issue in a blog post rather than writing an entire book is insufficient to reach an understanding for many out there, so I'm taking another stab and adding more detail to the post. After decades of study and 10 years outside of the Muppets, my focus here is on the dissipation of Jim Henson's influence within what he brought into the world, just as was my focus when I was on the inside. My intent is to inform, not offend, by being truthful in all that I convey.
Keep that. Oh, shit.
That sort of misinterpretation is most. After decades of study and 10 years out, form, not offend, by being truthful in all that I convey.
Keep this in mind. My intent is to inform, not offend, by being truthful in all that I convey. Keep that sentence in mind, because that's going to be a lot. And I know in a few seconds, in a few minutes, we're about to go into the deep stuff.
I think by writing that, you kind of are admitting to yourself that even though you don't intend for things to be hurtful, they could still be hurtful. And I think that's something he's reckoning with, but just hasn't quite accepted yet. And that's something we'll get into a little bit more a bit later.
Screw you, Ed. Don't look at what children are. Come on.
Gaza is at a tipping point.
Okay, I'm sorry. Y'all gotta hate on me. Gotta skip that. I'm sorry. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program.
This is ultimately about you gaining further understandings on the difference between true evolution and mere alteration for fame and fortune. That said, I have been asked innumerable times for my opinions on the topic of the present state of the Muppets, as well as Kermit himself, because I lived on the inside of all of this for years. What follows is for those critically thinking fans who care about why something is awry. If you are at a stage where you think we need the Muppets at any cost, this post is not for you unless you seek to gain deeper understandings of what constitutes their integrity from someone who was their primary defender. That was just the prologue, and so now let's get into the real meat of the blog.
The disclaimers are over with, thank God. Now it's time to get into the juicy stuff, and I might pause on some moments here and there. So this is just a warm-up.
Post here. In the 1960s, a band called The Bugs was literally manufactured to copy the Beatles' iconic sound by recording cover versions of their music. A few years later, Alan Haney became known as being the original Elvis impersonator, again performing the songs and impersonating.
What do you mean you're coming home from Walmart? Sweet, I was there earlier today, and I gotta go work tomorrow. I mean, hey, Emo, how you doing?
The voice. Many others followed throughout the decade, copying the work and style of many other groups. The list of so-called tribute bands goes on and on. None of these tribute acts claim to be the actual thing. There was no attempt to make the public believe that what they were seeing and hearing was the genuine article, the actual people themselves. None had the depth and creative spark that brought about the respective phenomena in the first place. Without the bona fide original having created a connection with the audience, these tribute bands are no more than impressionistic copycats garnering attention by pretending to be representative of something of immeasurable value.
And I can actually agree with that part so much, because we have seen a lot of tributes, acts of bands, impersonators and all, actually. So I that was just a random thought of his. Let's get to that.
Okay, personally, I don't see the current Muppets as a tribute act. It is very clearly an evolution of the original Muppets, because they have not just outright replaced all the original performers. There are still very much people who work on the Muppets to this very day that worked alongside Jim Henson. While Jim Henson passing away is a completely different situation, the replacing of individuals like Steve Whitmire within the Muppet roster, I see more as like a lead guitarist leaving a band and an understudy being brought up into the full-time position. Freddie Mercury may have passed away, but there still is a Queen to this day. And so we find ourselves in a world where when we look at the Muppets, what is before us at this point is essentially a tribute band.
But you were part of the tribute band.
Difference, they are claiming to be the genuine article, and you are expected to believe that. Again, I personally think that's pretty disrespectful.
I agree with you. Calling them the tribute band does rub me out the wrong way too.
Respectful to people like Dave Goelz, who have...
Yes, Dave Goelz, the guy who performs Gonzo and Butts and Honeydew, Beauregard. The list can go on and on with so many characters. Like, a lot of people don't know that Dave Goelz was like on God, where else he was on? He was also on like Sesame Street and some other Henson Company's stuff. And this is again full offense to Dave Goes, because yeah, Dave, he's been around since the early days, since the 60s. Gonzo first appeared in not the Muppet Show. He appeared in the Great Santa Claus Switch. Um, that was like a 60s special. I forgot what year it was, but it was like a late 60s special. And then later on, he became like the Great Gonzo. So yeah, it was the Great Santa Claus Switch was his first appearance, because he was like a frackle at the time. Well, we now know Gonzo's or whatever, but that's just the point. But yeah, thanks, 1970s. Well, pre-Muppet Show. Shut up, bitch. I mean, 1970s. Yeah. So late 60s, 70s. You know what I mean? But you were close, Jonathan. You was close. So consider like the 70s. Yeah. Then he was like in other stuff too.
Been there since the very first episode of the Muppet Show.
Okay, I mean, yeah, he was very first episode. He was more like he was a puppet designer actually for the Henson Company. He was a puppet designer at the time during the Muppets, and still need a Disney Legend Awards, honestly, because why not?
It could be seen that Dave Goelz's influence on the Muppets these days is even more important than ever, because he's in charge of carrying Jim's legacy into the current era of the Muppets. But Steve is basically saying, Dave's efforts don't matter right now. The Muppets are now a tribute band because I left.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that doesn't make sense. Sorry. To Steve, it might make a lot of sense, but to other people, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because what if Dave Goes left? Then what? Then you consider the Muppets as like this tribute band. Because again, Jerry Nelson passed away, Jim passed away, Richard passed away, Frank, he's doing his own thing. He's not with the Muppets anymore because he doesn't like how Disney is treating the Muppets. And Dave Goes is the only person that's still kicking it with the Muppets till this very day. So, and Steve, who is like one of the original performers, at least original performers, as they say, just because you left, everybody else is a tribute band, and Dave Goes is still there since the very beginning. It's ridiculous.
Let me explain more.
Here we go.
I first became acquainted with Kermit the Frog in the mid-1960s as he originally began to appear as a character. He was no longer the anonymous, abstract thing Jim Henson created, but had become a frog who was developing a distinct individual persona supplied in an ongoing way from a single individual performer. That individuality was the basis for his achieving a connection with us, the audience, as it allowed him to evolve in a consistent and anticipated fashion over more than the 2 decades that followed. Our expectation of who he had become was the result of the character being the extension of a specific performer who created the whole of him. When Kermit spoke, it had the gravitas of a direct connection with the artist underneath, and once established, alterations to replace the source, Jim Henson in this case, were literally unconscionable. So while he might not intend this to be the meaning, he is quite literally saying, replacing Jim Henson as Kermit the Frog, in any case, was unconscionable, meaning his own taking over as Kermit would be viewed as unconscionable. I know that's not what he's intending to say, but just reading the text as it's put in front of us, that is exactly what he is saying. The methodology.
Did anybody else got that part? Did we understand that? Did we clearly understand what Steve was saying? Boy, there's some parts in here. It's like sit down and question.
Of characters emanating from one specific performer applies to all of the core Muppets, and it establishes who Kermit is. It isn't Jim's Kermit, it's simple Kermit, and that is who's connected with the world. You know him, and you expect him to be himself. If he isn't, you know that as well. I think we can all agree that the most
devastating... Really good question. Let's look that up in the dictionary real quick. All right, give me 1 second. Unconsistable. All right, real quick, hold on. What does unconsistable means? I was hoping it was going to speak, actually. And no, damn, Google just messed up the word. So that's nice. Ay, 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 ay. I just had a brain fart. Wait. All right, here we go.
Unconscionable.
There we go. No. Okay. Anyway, it means describe actions or terms that are shocking, unfair, or unreasonable, often violating legal or more moral actually, let's just say that's just shocking, unfair, or very unreasonable. He got an interesting vocabulary system.
Devastating occurrence in the history of the Muppets was Jim's unexpected death in 1990. Even if you weren't around during that time frame, trust me, it was devastating. Someday I'll tell you all about our last conversation about a month prior in which he discussed with me our plans going forward. I'm not sure if he's specifically referencing the conversation with Jim that he disclosed in a Muppet Central article a few decades ago, but if so, it's no secret that that conversation was in regards to Steve Whitmire taking up the mantle of some new, larger characters in the Muppet Studio productions. Granted, he could have never expected that the larger character he was going to take over was Kermit the Frog, but that's another story.
That's insane. I can't see your screen from here anymore.
Hi, this is Jason Ferguson at Barker Mazda here in Houma, Louisiana. Today I'm sitting in a 2025 Mazda MX-5 Miata.
Who wants to drive? No, I will not be surprised because I see a lot of those cars at work a lot. But dang, look at that car, bro. It's a 2-seater. That's crazy. Oh wait, hold on. We're talking about the video, and I'm talking about cars. Sorry.
But for now, I want you all to understand that there was a second devastating and insidious turn of events that began to take hold behind the scenes in addition to losing Jim. Bro. It stemmed from the commodification of the Muppets without the wisdom and guidance of their creator. Technically, the Muppet characters began to be a commodity prior to Jim's death, since it was necessary to assign a monetary value to them to facilitate the sale of the company to Disney. Their worth had to be measured in dollar signs. But there was a stipulation. Jim's intent was for the characters to continue to be performed by their original performers indefinitely.
Now, whether that statement is true or not, I don't know. I get this one an iffy moment right here of saying Jim's intent was the characters to continue to be performed by the original performers indefinitely. Now, whether that is true or not, I mean, who knows? Let's just put on that he said, she said situation,
For Jim, that was at the core of their values. Now, this is a bit interesting to me because Steve himself has said that to his knowledge, prior to Jim's death, there might have been conversations of Steve Whitmire being an understudy performer to Kermit the Frog at events where Jim Henson was too busy to attend. So it seems that even Jim was okay with there being alternate performers for these characters in certain circumstances. Again, all of this is just hearsay, so I'm not personally saying what I believe Jim thought at the time. I am just pointing out that Steve has said the opposite of what he's saying now in the past. A part of his reason for selling to Disney was a trust that the character...
Moment, pause. I just received this in the group chat. Then I'm in the phone group chat, actually. This comes from the Sheffield, Alabama store. And holy lordy moly smoly. Come on, load up phone. Load up. We lost the plot. Oh my. Yummy. This is some horrible AI. I'm getting sick and tired of my tummy. Look at it. Look. That's disgusting. Oh Lord. Even more words. They replaced Munch with Chucky, and Chucky looks like a black book. Good Lord. I don't think that's in our... Oh shit, that's in our district. Okay, fuck us. I forgot Alabama's in our locations, actually, in our district. I think there's locations in our district. I don't know. I know Mobile is, but Jesus Christ. That's disgusting. All right, back to the video. Sorry, I just had to do that. I want to show you. I'm sorry. Back to the video.
characters would be protected partially through keeping this particular methodology ongoing. That way, the individuality of each character would continue to evolve just as it had for years, while maintaining their individual relationships with the fans. I know firsthand that the rejection of this fundamental core principle within the Muppets during the negotiations of the sale was a large part of why Jim was having second thoughts about his decision to sell to Disney. But additionally...
Wait, what do you mean second thoughts? Okay, what do you mean second thoughts? There were second thoughts that we don't know about, because from what the story was going around, Disney was really having good care for the characters, and that's what Jim wanted. Jim wanted somewhere that has like good care for the characters, since Disney at the time actually took good care of the characters. This is back in the 80s, right after Walt's death. But there was no second. Oh, okay. Now I don't know what Steve is on, honestly, and it just doesn't make sense. So what second thoughts did Jim have? Jim had no second thoughts. We all knew that there was talks of Disney of getting the license. I mean the stuff to Sesame Street. And holy shit, the fucking AI is like the first fucking thing on the fucking live stream. That's fucking great. But still, like, I don't understand. I don't. I'm telling you, bro, this is one of those he said, she said. Ah! Okay, continue.
The Muppets becoming thought of as a brand to be bought and sold brought about what I believe to be the most devastating thing to damage the Muppets in their history outside of Jim's death. The wholly objective corporate approach of treating the characters as roles to be portrayed by actors who audition, rather than to continue to view them as direct extensions of artistic expression from specific individual originative performers. Read that important last sentence one more time. It is a fatal error.
Yeah, right. Talking about sorry, I was typing something real fast. Yeah, right. But initially, the Muppets thought a brand to be bought and sold by, I believe, the most devastating thing to do damage in the history outside Jim's death. The wholly objective corporate approach of treating the characters as roles to be portrayed by actors who audition, rather than continue. Okay, yeah, right. Lord.
I would agree if, when they recast the role of Kermit, they brought in a voice actor who did nothing but sound like Jim Henson.
Thank you.
Matt Vogel is a well-trusted and well-respected individual and puppeteer within the Jim Henson Company and within Disney. He was hand-selected by Jerry Nelson to carry on his legacy performers through the coming eras of the Muppets, and he spent a lot of time working alongside Steve Whitmire, who was Kermit in every sense that Jim was. So I would think...
Not to mention, too, he was also handpicked by Carol Spinney, also for Big Bird as well. Now I get it, Big Bird is a Sesame Street Muppet, but still consider that Jerry Nelson also worked on Sesame Street with his iconic characters. I feel like he missed that part out, and I see why he missed that part out, but still, Carol Spinney also handpicked Carol Spinney also handpicked Matt Vogel to play Big Bird on Sesame Street, which there's like early episodes, at least at the time, where Matt would understudy for Big Bird. I know for sure in the Journeys to Ernie, he was Big Bird before, he took over the role of Big Bird nowadays.
In the near 27 years working together, Matt Vogel got a lot of Jim's inspiration through his working with Steve. So I don't view these recasts as roles to be portrayed by actors who auditions. They are characters who are being given to well-trusted and well-seasoned puppeteers. To reduce your own...
They're still above, like, Muppets, but Disney owns the... See, that's a weird, confusing history right there. Because they're still Muppets, but it's like the word Muppets is used by Disney and it's trademarked by Disney. So Sesame Street and like the Jim Henson Company just had to pay Disney to license the word. I don't really know how that whole thing worked, right? I really don't. And I don't know how to explain it. I just know that both companies just pay Disney so they can use the words Muppets, and now they're like Sesame Street Muppets, Jim Henson Company Muppets, Disney Muppets. So it's like it's a popular word, but people get confused so much. I don't. It's fucking weird.
Former co-workers down to actors who auditioned for the role is just blatantly disrespectful to all they do.
Fleas and ticks? Ick. Prevent the ick quick.
Wait, why did I pause this? Oh, I'm pausing because I'm seeing your thing. I always call Sesame Muppets the Sesame Muppets and Jim Henson Muppets, Jim Muppets. My God, that was a mouthful. Yeah.
With flea and tick meds from
Oh, that
Chewy
could've been really
Pharmacy.
weird.
Welcome to Wix Harmony. Take the speed of AI and
No,
mix
I don't
level
want to
control.
speed of AI. Get out the phone.
Viewing the Muppets primarily as roles began as soon as Jim was gone and altered the perception from seeing them as individual entities who exist in our own world to being a corporate-owned puppet character franchise with people hired to play them. An exterior, objective way of seeing them rather than an interior, subjective approach. To really understand what I am saying, here you have to differentiate between the interior and exterior of the characters. In other words, the corporate thinking goes that all the years of interior development done by an originator can be replaced by simply auditioning someone who can lip sync, approximate a voice, and focus the eyes, even if that person has no true understanding of the reasons behind why the world has a solid and loving connection with that character. This whole blog post and everything Steve is saying is indirectly directed at Matt Vogel. And
it's pretty much he's throwing shade at me. He's literally throwing shade at Matt so much. You can tell he's throwing so much shade at Matt and claiming like this isn't throwing shade at the guy, but I'm gonna throw some shade at him without telling you guys I'm throwing shade at him.
What he's inferring here is that Matt has no true understanding of why people love these characters. I think he's more specifically saying Matt doesn't understand why people love Kermit, because it seems like for 20 years, he was perfectly fine accepting that Jerry Nelson taught him why people love his own characters. Plenty of Muppet performers have taken over characters of people they have never met in person, and Steve never seemed to have an issue with that before now. The let's just hire someone new mentality serves multiple purposes for corporate owners, but at the top of the list is that if bringing the Muppets to life is as simple as auditioning for them whenever you like, you are never beholden to a designated performer. Once again, I would agree with Steve here if Kermit had been passed around for the past decade from performer to performer. He has only ever been performed by 3 primary performers: Jim Henson, Steve Whitmire, Matt Vogel. If Steve Whitmire had continued to perform Kermit the Frog for the rest of his life before passing away, they would then have to recast the character yet again. And I don't think people would have an issue with that because there would be no alternative. I think Steve's main issue with this is that he got ousted, so he still could feasibly perform Kermit the Frog, but they are not allowing him to. Therefore, auditioning a new performer for him seems unnecessary and vindictive in his eyes. All that depth of character stuff has no tangible place around a boardroom table. The non-creative temporal executives in charge can hire and fire at will those who would otherwise be committed for life under the guise of, it's just a role played by a hired hand. Trouble is, thanks to Jim's methodology, in the case of the Muppets, the performer of a character is the primary ongoing thread that runs through them indefinitely beyond owners, executives, and projects. I just want to reference that Muppet Central interview with Steve Whitmire again because in it, he speaks about taking over Beaker as a role from Richard Hunt. And in it, he says, Beaker was difficult because I had no clue where it came from in Richard. I didn't know at all how Richard did this. It was really just a matter of being silly with Dave. The truth is, I still don't know where it came from. I just don't know what part of Richard it came from, what facet of his personality. I don't relate to the character the way Richard did, so really with Beaker, I'm doing an awful lot of just copying Richard. I wouldn't say that I really have a good handle on that character, but it's fun. It's a fun character.
Oh man, he actually was really good with Beaker, despite of what he was saying about this in this Muppet Central interview decades ago. I actually did enjoy his Beaker, and also I think David Rubman does Beaker now, because I know David Rubman carry on a lot of Richard's characters, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's David Ruffin, but Ruffin. I know I'm saying his last name wrong. David Rubin. I don't know why I'm thinking Temptations, but yeah, Dave. I think that's it. Oh, please tell me I'm right about that. He does a really good job with Beaker too. I think that's him. I'm not sure. I don't know why I'm getting him and Peter Lynn's both confused, because I know Peter doesn't do Beaker, and it's like it's my mind. It's like it's but it's Dave.
So he's kind of indirectly saying there, I don't quite understand where this character came from within Richard, but I'm having fun doing it. Like, I don't understand the depths of Beaker's character, if there are any depths to that character, but I was given the chance to play that role, and now I'm making it my own. Make no mistake, this is a part of the thinking, a partial truth like many purely objective corporate truth that ignores the interior subjective importance of how deep the connection with you, the audience, came about in the first place, i.e. that connection isn't about their little green puppet, it's about your expectation of who you have grown to care about. As it has become the standard for ongoing established characters who are well known by the fans to be recast in cattle call auditions and handed off to performers as though they won first prize in a reality show competition, the true subjective art of the Muppets has begun to disappear for all time, leaving the top-tier Muppets to continue on based upon a list of their cliche traits that could be observed in YouTube videos. It's all that's left upon which to base them. That's bad enough, but even worse are new interpretations of the very characters you and I know so well. As is standard in any production, from Broadway roles to franchise movie characters, different performers stepping into any role commonly bring their own interpretations in order to make it their own. Evidently a stated goal amongst the Muppet puppeteers of today. With no one in charge to provide knowledgeable guidance about the origins and the Muppets viewed as roles to be played, the door remains wide open for a highly visible and recognizable soul like Kermit, as well as all the rest, to be changed at the whim of whoever ends up underneath him. Again, Matt Vogel is currently working alongside plenty of puppeteers who worked with Jim Henson. David Rudman, Dave Goelz.
I don't know why I'm thinking. Yeah. David been around. God, I forgot when David started right before Jim's death, too. Yeah.
They are there to provide insight to him on how Kermit would evolve in this current era. Those people knew Jim just as well as Steve did, and I feel like they are just as worthy to pass on his teachings and advice as Steve himself. But I want you all to know that from day one throughout nearly 3 decades, not once did I ever have the notion to make Kermit my own. On the contrary, it was absolutely vital in my process to make certain that any egotistical notion of marking territory never happened, so that Kermit remained based solely upon Jim's foundational original. From an outsider's perspective, I personally disagree, but in a positive light. I think in the early days when Steve Whitmire was trying so hard to be Jim Henson when performing Kermit, it was to the character's detriment. Over time, Kermit's voice became a lot less forced. It came closer to Steve's natural register. And I really feel like his Kermit was at its best when it was an extension of him, the puppeteer. That seems to be something he very clearly supports, unless you're taking over the character for someone else. I think it's really important for a puppeteer to make a character their own to a certain extent. I am not saying start from square one, here's the new Kermit the Frog who resembles nothing of the original. But I think if you have someone trying their best to encapsulate the original performer from 70 years ago as best as they possibly can, the performance is going to come off stilted and stale. I remember thinking in the very first day of Matt Vogel taking over Kermit, the voice sounded okay, but I would hope that over time, Kermit's voice would find a more natural tone that might be closer to Matt Vogel's speaking tone, rather than trying to perfectly imitate either Jim Henson or Steve Whitmire. So I'm not saying in any means that my statement is correct here. Steve Whitmire has a deeper understanding of these characters than any of us will ever have, and I'm not claiming to dispute that. But as an outside viewer, I feel like it's important for there to be a real connection between the character and the person portraying it. And that comes with evolving and changing the character a bit over time to better suit the performer. It had to be that way. There is no other way for what I consider to be a living, breathing persona to stay consistently convincing as it evolves. This differs entirely from the present-day recasting process. I think what bothers me the most is the presumption that altering the qualities that you and I, as fans connected with for decades, is somehow acceptable and desirable. My standard analogy is that the Muppets are treated like a box of crayons or a palette of paints for the next selected person to use to draw and color their own pictures. They still do the same old stories using the same old jokes and sight gags, but without legitimate evolution. It is as though producers and performers who never sat in the same space as we did with Jim are somehow qualified to redefine what Jim and the rest originated. It's nothing less than sheer hubristic arrogance.
The board found new ground to assimilate. Recruit Data Skingraft and Zephram Cochran.
In my own interpretation of this, it truly feels like Steve Whitmire saying he is the only person in the history of the world who is worthy of carrying on the torch of Kermit the Frog. That you had to have sat in a room with Jim Henson to be able to carry on the legacy of that character. Unfortunately, everyone who worked with Jim Henson isn't going to be alive forever. Right. So eventually, these characters are going to be passed on to people who did not personally know the character's originators. And if you're trying to make the argument that once the last person who knew Jim Henson passes away, Kermit should die as well, I think that is a terrible argument. Steve might lump me into the criteria of saying we need the Muppets now more than ever, and it doesn't matter how. I feel like it does matter how, but according to Steve's criteria, literally no other puppeteer on this planet Earth is worthy of taking over Kermit the Frog. And I think that is just a really selfish statement to make. Trust me, what was conceived and put forth in the late 1970s was not only good enough to have allowed the Neo-Muppets to have jobs today. Jesus Christ.
That's literally I remember watching this video too when it was the, I remember watching this when it was early access and all, and that scene gets to my head every time. I had to rewind it back the first time when he said Neo Muppets, and Sully's reaction is so perfect.
Jobs today, Jesus Christ. The character's originators. And if you're trying to make the argument that once the last person who knew Jim Henson passes away, Kermit should die as well, I think that is a terrible argument. Steve might lump me into the criteria of saying we need the Muppets now more than ever, and it doesn't matter how. I feel like it does matter how, but according to Steve's criteria, literally no other puppeteer on this planet Earth is worthy of taking over Kermit the Frog. And I think that is just a really selfish statement to make. Trust me, what was conceived and put forth in the late 1970s was not only good enough to have allowed the Neo-Muppets to have jobs today. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I felt that. The Neo-Muppets did not have jobs today. Jesus Christ is right.
It was the biggest phenomena on the planet. At its core, none of it is in need of so-called reimagining by anyone. We are left with no new ideas for them, only surface observations made by owners, producers, and performers. That's all that's available for reference.
So you mean to tell me that no new ideas, Muppets Haunted Mansion wasn't a new idea, Muppets Mayhem wasn't a new idea, Muppets Now, God forbid, wasn't a new idea for the Muppets? The Muppet Show special wasn't a good idea or a new idea for the Muppets. So we're just literally saying, ever since you're gone, those aren't new ideas for the Muppets to stay relevant. And there's probably more that I have missed, like the Muppets Take the O2, the Muppets Hollywood Bowl. Those don't count anymore, I guess. And I know like there's Muppet Stars of the Week too, but still. Those don't count as new ideas. That's crazy.
Leaving the Muppets to be viewed objectively as objects from the outside rather than from the core of the characters' subjective hearts and minds, the original sources to which direct access has been eliminated. enter a big shiny reboot of the Muppet Show. And
okay, I'm not going to sit here and say enter a big shiny reboot of the Muppet Show because it didn't get picked up yet. It was just a backdoor plot. It could lead up to a reboot. It could. As of right now, we still haven't heard anything from Disney. I'm still betting on the latter that after the success of goodness from the Muppets Rock and Roller Coaster, which is another new idea, we'll probably see that series picked up, and they'll probably start working on it after the Muppets Rock and Roller Coaster. Again, anything is possible. Nothing is picked up as right now. So yeah, now we're on to the part where he puts his sauce on the new Muppet Show special.
Idea I pitched multiple times from 2010 forward, only to see it entirely ignored.
Okay. And then fast 4 years after that, you had the Muppets 2015 series. So yeah, okay, cool.
Hey, I now see why this blog post came out now rather than like 5 years ago. The Muppet Show is a project that Steve Whitmire deeply cares about, one that he has insisted on bringing back over the years, and only now that he has gone from the Muppets is it returning. I understand how that might hurt, so I kind of see where he's coming from, although it doesn't defend some of the statements I believe he's making. But I had very specific reasons for proposing bringing back the series at that juncture. My reasons for placing the Muppets in their original surroundings was to give a new ensemble of Muppet performers a familiar place to hone their historical knowledge of characters they had been gifted while working alongside Kermit, who was at that point 20 years intact, and while they had access to the small number of people who were there in the days of the origin. To my knowledge, the only original Muppet performer who was with them in the 2010s who is no longer with them now is Steve Whitmire, meaning that they are doing exactly what Steve wanted them to do, albeit not in the right way. They are now in the place where the Muppet Show started, surrounded by multiple people who were there from the very beginning. Even veteran Muppet performer Louise Gold was flown.
Oh yes, right here, Louise Gold.
In for the new Muppet Show reboot. She ultimately didn't puppeteer on it because her work visa wasn't approved in time, but she and Dave Goelz were there to tell all the performers about their days at the very origin of the Muppet Show. So even if we take Steve's side that Kermit isn't intact for this particular reboot, almost every other Muppet character is. But make no mistakes, this is a Hail Mary right out of the Disney playbook used when nothing else is working. Garner attention from the press by bringing in a recognizable Hollywood name to produce and place the characters in a setting so familiar that they lack any depth and logic is more likely to go unnoticed. Think the Muppets in 2011. It doesn't matter whether or not you liked it, it was still the Muppets paying tribute to themselves. Is he now?
Oh, Lord Jesus Christ. This is getting more juicier.
Now saying he doesn't like the 2011 Muppets? Or is he saying it's good because they were paying tribute to themselves in 2011, even though they're paying tribute to themselves now? I'm confused. Also, to my knowledge, Seth Rogen has been working very hard to get Disney to greenlight this special for a long time, so they didn't just bring him in randomly to attach a name to the project. It seems to have been a passion project between him, Matt Vogel, and Eric Jacobson for many years now.
Which is also true. There's an actual fun fact. It was the Disney sing-along. I think it came out in 2020 on Disney Plus. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know. I really watch a lot of Disney Plus. They actually did a recreation, a retheming of the Muppet Show. So it does predicted back that 6 years ago. You think about it. Seth Rogen has been in the picture for about 6 years now. So yeah. And also, too, he's in work of a Darkwing Duck reboot for Disney Plus, actually. So, hey, he got a lot of stuff in his hand. So, if I truly believe that the Darkwing Duck reboot will be a success, then, hey, Disney, it's time to greenlight the Muppet Show with Seth Rogen as executive producer. I would love to see more scenes with him. So, yeah. You lost brain cells during this? Me too.
You will see this tactic of using the star name again and again, although I do believe that Seth Rogen is likely a good choice to be a showrunner for a Muppet project, and I love that Emma Stone spoke of Piggy in the press as though she was a living actress. If only they had access to characters still operating with a basis steeped in Jim's influence. See, right there, that is disrespectful. He is specifically saying that Miss Piggy is no longer steeped in Jim's influence, a direct slap in the face to Eric Jacobson, who
I posted this picture. Okay, that's not his point.
As of next year, will have performed Miss Piggy for longer than Frank Oz did. Steve...
Whoa, hold on a second. Let's do the map here real fast.
Influence, a direct slap in the face to Eric Jacobson, who as of next year will have performed Miss Piggy for longer than Frank Oz did.
That explains a lot. That's right, because Frank left in 2002. Dang.
Steve Whitmire and Eric Jacobson worked so closely for 27 years, and for Steve to now say that any of the characters Eric Jacobson does are not steeped in Jim's influence is absolutely horrific. In his own words, he wanted these puppeteers to work alongside Kermit, who was still intact. Eric Jacobson did that for 20 plus years. He has done such a good job of carrying on Frank Oz's characters. Frank Oz appreciates him carrying on his characters. I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
Oh, Lord. Look, if I come up with this, 1 second.
I have also been told by sources that the hope of the top performers is that after 10 years, this new Muppet Show reboot can be used by them to prove that by marketing the Muppets in front of the traditional red curtains, you will believe that they are providing faithful versions of the characters. Does that strike you as a bit disingenuous? No, this argument strikes me as a bit disingenuous. No one is pretending that this is the only way they're going to prove that these characters are still faithful. These puppeteers have been providing faithful performances of these characters ever since Jim Henson's death. The only character you are now complaining about is Kermit the Frog. Now, if we rephrase that argument that they're hoping to prove Kermit is still faithful to his original character by placing him here, I feel like that might be a fair argument, but I don't think that's the sole reason for bringing the Muppet Show back. The expectation is that you, the viewers, have forgotten Jim and his influence, and sadly, maybe you have. Nobody has, and I feel like that's condescending to the viewers. Very few Muppet fans disregard the legacy of Jim and say, do what you want with the characters because Jim's gone. I think that's insulting to us fans. We're looking for people to carry on his legacy, and with less and less of the original Muppet performers available to perform their characters, I don't think that means the Muppets should go extinct. Us Muppet fans can be critical of Muppet projects and Muppet characters and interpretations. I feel like that's a really healthy thing to do for something you care so much about. But us welcoming an attempt at a Muppet comeback is not us disregarding Jim Henson and his legacy. It's us trusting the performers that have carried the mantles of these characters for so many years and trusting that they know what is best for the characters. I feel like if you have zero trust in any of the performers involved in these projects, you are no longer a Muppet fan. But there cannot be a faithful continuation of something as unique and established as The Muppet Show without Kermit fully intact at the top of the pyramid, and even then servicing the other core characters in an uphill climb. I hate to break it to you, as of recording this section, the new Muppet Show is out, and it's fantastic. Critics and fans alike seem to absolutely adore it and think it is such a faithful and respectful recreation of the original series. I'm sure you can find people who disagree. I'm just speaking on my own behalf. But for the first time in nearly a decade, it felt like we had the Muppet characters back. Steve has made no public comment on the new Muppet Show as of recording this, although he has publicly claimed that he will be writing a blog post about it, so...
I'm still waiting on him to write an entire blog post about it.
I'm honestly scared to read that because it's going to be a hard read. So at this point, I urge those of you who are savvy enough to see beyond the hype to gain the deepest possible understanding of all that Jim brought to the uniqueness of his.
To be fair, I actually was on a rampage. I was on the post raise about that in February. I actually do miss those days. I haven't heard anything new lately with the Muppet Show as of right now. So I kind of on my break of like, go watch the new Muppet Show now on Disney Plus so we get the reboot. So that was all February and stuff. Unless I hear something like new happen, like, oh hey, we're getting like a series and stuff, then yeah, I'll go back on that. You know, we'll revisit the February card of me promoting the shit out of that fucking special and stuff. I miss those days actually. It was a lot of fun, but I've not heard anything as lately new, and I don't really check Disney Plus anymore. That was the last thing I actually watched on Disney Plus, and other than that, I don't really watch Disney Plus anymore. I mean, I still have it, but I just don't really watch it, like talk about
characters that will be ignored for all time.
Here we go. Here's the part where I actually want to know.
I don't hate Disney or the Hensons or Matt. I'm the one who pushed to bring him into the Muppets at Disney in the first place.
What? Wait. That was a good reaction for Sully.
Matt, I'm the one who pushed to bring him into the Muppets at Disney in the first place.
Okay, so this part always confused me, and it's gonna puzzle my mind here. You don't hate Disney, you don't hate the Hensons, or you don't hate Matt. You claim that you're the one who pushed it to bring him into the Muppets at Disney in the first place. Wow! Wait, guys, look at the face palm.
To wait.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that was so good.
Matt, I'm the one who pushed to bring him into the Muppets at Disney in the first place.
I'm just gonna pause right there. To say that you look innocent without saying you look innocent is so much. There's so much lies that I'm really seeing in here, because how are you gonna push someone to like go to Disney in the first place if they was working with at the time? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make any sense, because if that was the case, then I don't know what to believe anymore. Honestly, I really don't know what to believe anymore. It's like, again, it's always this he said, she said situation. So part of it is like he's speaking it from his point of view, but this other part is like he's trying to act like, guys, I'm the good guy in this situation. I'm innocent, but let me cover up all my bad trace of these lies. Of these truthful, and I'm gonna just cover them up with lies so that you guys can believe me. That's what it sounds like to me, is that he's covering up so much. It's like, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's very two-faced. Yeah.
Wait this long to say you have nothing but love for Matt after you have been trashing him for like 10 paragraphs says a lot. I feel like that is the first thing you should be saying at the top of this blog post. Say, first and foremost, I have nothing but love and respect for Matt Vogel. This just comes from the point of view as a Muppet fan myself. But you have just given fuel to the fire for people who did not read this far down into the paragraph to go and attack Matt even more. Again, I don't think that was Steve's intention, but burying this little sentence so deep into a 3,000-word essay means a lot of people are not going to see it. Watch the new show and enjoy it if you enjoy it. Just do so with the clarity that the present state of things is the product of treating the Muppets as what they are rather than who they are, and it leaves us all with a result that doesn't faithfully approach the magic and integrity of the original. I love telling fans how they're allowed to enjoy it. You can only enjoy the new special if you admit the Muppets suck now. The word channel.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I just give you guys like my own personal opinion. You can go watch something or listen to whatever if you feel like it. But I'm just gonna give you my own 2 cents of it. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys like, guys, go watch the new show or go listen to this album. It's fucking amazing. You guys have your own rights to listen to whatever. Yes, it is so much gaslighting, bro. I swear.
gets thrown around a lot these days, I often see the term used to indicate that someone is somehow receiving some sort of divine inspiration from someone else who has moved on or died, an originator of something whose torch is now represented by them. I take the word channeling very seriously, and I am very aware that when I was tasked with carrying on Kermit, my first and biggest challenge was to fully inhabit him in the exact way that Jim did to the best of my ability. To whatever extent I was able to preserve the core of Kermit, that ability did indeed rely upon so-called channeling of all that I knew from within an interpersonal relationship with Jim. Without having had that direct relationship, no amount of calling my objective opinions channeling would have netted anything of integrity where Kermit is concerned. To put it simply, I can attest that it is simply not possible to faithfully inhabit a character as well-known and recognizable as Kermit from only being the most dedicated of fans and watching countless old videos of what the originator did. He is basically saying that the recasting of any character that has occurred since someone's departure from the Muppets is invalid. They did not know Jim like I did, and therefore their interpretation of this character means nothing. Notice that when Jim Henson passed away, Steve Whitmire did not take over the roles of Rolf and Dr. Teef, two of Jim Henson's most iconic characters from the time. In the Muppet Central article, he states, "Not one of us does all of his characters. I can do the voices and the puppetry for the ones that have a certain tone of voice, like Ernie and Kermit. I can do a pretty good Swedish Chef, that kind of tone. I can't really do a Rolf voice." So he's fully acknowledging he was not capable of carrying on that character, and they found someone who in his mind was perfectly capable of taking over the character and was doing a great job. But now that Steve is no longer with the Muppets, anything that Bill Beretta has done with Jim's inherited characters doesn't mean anything. It's all wrong. It genuinely feels like at this point he wants to let every single Muppet character die just because there's not someone who directly was involved in the creation of that character who's still able to perform or even alive at this point. With a definitive soul like Kermit, you know him when you're with him, just as you'd know a parent, your spouse, or a close friend. And having looked him in the eyes for decades, so do I. Think about it. If someone walks into the room wearing your best friend's favorite shirt and talking in their general register with their accent, you're still going to know instantly that the person before you is not who you have come to know. And I think that's how everyone felt when Jim Henson passed away and Steve Whitmire took over. The only thing working to Steve's benefit at this point is we didn't have the internet at the time, so you don't have thousands of people in the comments of everything you do pointing out that you're
like everything you do. Like he just break that down. I would not be surprised if he had like an outtake where he said it doesn't mean a damn thing, and then you're like, oh wait, I'm just gonna record it out.
no Jim Henson. It cannot be stressed enough. It is vital to the Muppets that those who write for them, produce their projects, and perform them view every aspect, every small detail of what affects them through the eyes of the characters themselves, as the first priority by treating them as though they are living, breathing souls. But first, you have to have fidelity. A very important part of my process was to try and falsify any notion that came into my mind about Jim in the tradition of Karl Popper.
Oh, yes, Deshaun, I seen your new post. My. It would be a shame if I tell our good friend Mr. Travis what the heck we find out.
Before applying it to Kermit. That simply means that I made no assumptions about what Jim did or who Jim was. Even though he and I had worked together for a while, I put any educated hunches through vigorous examination to find evidence and data to either confirm my hunch or rule it out. And who's to say Matt Vogel hasn't done the same thing? It feels from reading these articles that Steve has not reached out to Matt Vogel to assist in him finding where Kermit lies. It appears he is more happy to sit back and just say Matt is doing it wrong. Matt could be doing the exact same thing that Steve did, investigating his creative hunches and finding data through possibly other original Muppet performers who are still performing alongside him to kind of verify that his version of Kermit is moving in the right direction.
Yes to tourney time.
And to the fastest checkout in the West with Scan and Go.
What about curbside?
Yeah, I think we don't get that at. You know what? They get. I seen that earlier today at Sam's. They got the little Scan and Go. We have to check receipts. Like, what the fuck? Why they get the cheap stuff and we get like the lame stuff? I mean, granted, we're under the same company too. Why am I rambling about? Back to the video.
If one is to actually achieve an internal realization of another person's psyche, it is extremely vital endeavor to use actual data based on direct knowledge of that originator as a sort of checks and balances methodology. Otherwise, self-policing one's own opinions will not magically make an opinion truth. Once and for all, folks, the Muppets as originally created are not defined by what they are defined by who they are. Somebody make a t-shirt.
This man really told somebody make a t-shirt. You know those hardcore Steve fans are going to make a t-shirt with his face with that particular line.
Will not. Disney will sue me instantly. A character like Kermit does not function with multiple performers, as versions, or as new interpretations, either simultaneously or even subsequently. But he does. By definition, Kermit had a subsequent performer. That is integral to his legacy. If we were discussing replacing Kermit for the first time right now, all of these conversations would be extremely valid to be had. But we are discussing the replacing of someone who already replaced Jim. So to
yes, he also is a pedo. Yeah. Ask him about his buddy David.
Say they don't function with multiple subsequent performers is just disingenuous at best. Treating the Muppets as roles is inaccurate because unlike ordinary fictional characters who live entirely in their on-screen world, the Muppets are both the characters and the actors within their films. As actors, they maintain a functioning existence in our own real world just as any other actor does, often appearing as themselves both live and in television interviews. This isn't George Clooney versus Val Kilmer versus Michael Keaton as Batman because there is no living person going on Good Morning America claiming to be Batman, an actual individual entity in this world who goes home to Wayne Manor after the interview. Batman is an on-screen role. Kermit is a tangible present-day individual in this world, a fully realized persona with a personal lifelong history no different than that of anyone you know in your day-to-day life. But I would argue back in the day, Kermit was going on talk show hosts as a character, as an extension of Jim Henson. He was often interviewed while very clearly on Jim's arm, and questions would be relayed from Jim to Kermit to the host. They would all interact as one, and no one was pretending that Kermit was some sentient being. I honestly think people would be more accepting to Matt Vogel's Kermit if they had time to see him and Kermit together, where he can talk alongside Kermit about his process and his respect to keeping the legacy of the character. But because people are seeing, like Steve described, an individual entity who suddenly sounds different than what we're familiar with, then it is throwing people off. That goes into a huge disagreement I have with Disney in portraying the Muppets like they're real people rather than giving the respect to the performers behind the character. But I will get into that in another video, I promise. That is what you are connected with, and you are seeing the effect of all of that having disintegrated. I have said many times in the past that I believe those of us who were giving life to the Muppets were in a sort of partnership with the audience that allows them to be brought to life. The majority of the responsibility is on the performers, but without an audience willing to suspend their disbelief, their connection to the Muppets would not exist. Who Kermit is established and should not be subject to he's doing the best he can, or give it more time, or debates over one's version versus another version any more than who you are can be. But even Steve needed more time as Kermit. He said he doesn't consider his first proper performance of Kermit to be until 2 years after Jim Henson passed away in Muppet Christmas Carol. So
now, will you see that as his first performance of Kermit or not? I'm just going to say that is kind of debatable. But the sources does say, and I quote from Muppet Wiki, that the Muppets celebrate Jim Henson was his first performance as Kermit. Even though he didn't like it, I don't know why, but he's saying that Muppet Christmas. If that was the case, then that was the case. I don't think Kermit would have been in the Muppets Celebrate Jim Henson whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like, if that wasn't, like, if you claim that wasn't as your first performance, I don't think the team would have done the special. they would have just let bygones be bygones and move on to the next project and not pay tribute to the man that changed literally everything. So I'm not going to sit here and say that, yeah, that was his first performance as Kermit in Muppets Christmas Carol, because the bitch it wasn't. I don't care if you didn't like how your lines was sound and everything like that. No, that was your first performance. Let's keep it 100, bro. Let's keep it real. Maybe there's some Sesame Street performance out there too that that we probably don't know about between 1990 and 92, but still, that was your first performance as Kermit.
At the time, give him more time seemed like a perfectly plausible explanation to Steve. But now that he's no longer intrinsically involved in the Muppets, that argument is invalid. At a point when the audience is debating versions of Kermit within their minds, there is no longer Kermit to debate. Again, people have debated Jim Henson versus Steve Whitmire for 30 plus years now, so that debate has always been well and alive, and yet Kermit, by Steve's own admission, stayed intact through all those debates. So you say you have trouble with the voice.
Okay, that's another part too. I remember he pointed out as well. I'm glad you caught on. I am also not a big fan of Disney making the Muppets characters as like the characters real people. I actually prefer having the performers performing the characters. Same thing with Sesame Street. They kind of do that now more days, but it does appeal to the kids, so I guess it makes sense. All right, we're almost close to the finish line.
Let me tell you, what is missing is a far greater loss than a voice. Virtually everything of Jim that he put into Kermit, his thought processes and timing, certain southernisms and expressions, quirks and affectations, historical references and contextual background, that slight indignant inquisitiveness, his general outlook and life philosophy, that old-fashioned understanding, uneasiness when things are going very wrong while still accepting it for what it is, even the manipulation style. All things that had to be observed in Jim to be understood and implemented. All things that I worked to make sure were kept alive at the core of Kermit, gone for good. I just want to point out that at the time Steve Whitmire was dismissed from the Muppets, Brian Henson worked alongside Disney for the recasting of Kermit the Frog. Matt Vogel has explained that it was basically a week-long workshopping process to try and move Kermit the Frog more in the direction of Jim's version of Kermit rather than Steve's version of Kermit. And so Kermit seeming different now, I think, lends credence to the fact that Kermit the Frog did change over the time Steve Whitmire performed him. So going backwards nearly 40 years in the time span of Kermit's life is rightfully jarring. Granted, I believe even if the new performer of Kermit was a dead ringer for Steve and did everything exactly as he did it, Steve would still not be happy with the performance, and I understand that, but this is the argument we have to make right now. Why? Because they can't be synthesized, only passed on to the right person at the right time, and even that is a maybe. Once again, Kermit the Frog should die because there's no one worthy of taking over the mantle. I hate that argument. But perhaps the most devastating loss of all is that there's no longer a basis for us to ever find out the truth of what Kermit would and should be doing next. Without Kermit continuing to be the vessel of Jim's influence, we have lost Jim for all time. Just as without Jim's influence continuing within Kermit, he is lost as well. Then I say this very respectfully, Steve, reach out to Matt Vogel. In your own words, you are the only person left who can impart the insight into Kermit's values onto his new performer. I think reaching out to Matt and talking to him from a position of mutual love and respect of these characters would be seen as a great thing for the Muppets. Even if it's futile in your mind, Kermit the Frog is lost forever, even if you do impart your advice on Matt Vogel, why wouldn't you give it a try? I think in your own outward perspective of the Muppets moving forward without you, it would make you feel better to know you did everything you could to ensure that Jim's legacy continues on through Kermit, whether successful or not. But it seems at this point he has no interest in imparting knowledge onto the current Muppet performers and is much happier separating himself fully from what once was the Muppets in his own mind. And while you're rolling that thought over in your mind, take time to remember the list of those people claiming to protect Jim's legacy who put this plan into action and who supported it, both wholeheartedly and tacitly. Jim's own children had a huge part in this. I feel like it's disrespectful to them to assume that they aren't coming from a point of love and respect for their own father's legacy. Brian Henson has no ulterior motives here. He has no current involvement with the Muppets. And he admittedly says that it was something he wanted to do back in 2004. So this is a deeply rooted issue within the people in charge of the Muppets. And I don't think there's a solution for that. We just have to accept that what is broken, and we have to move on. If the truth is true, then it isn't egotistical, it's just the truth. It's what it is. All of what I'm sharing with you here isn't theory, it's tested. And despite whatever you may be absolutely certain of to the contrary, I have no interest whatsoever in being re-involved with the Muppets today. That's because...
but years ago, you actually said that you loved to work back with the Muppets, but now this is going on as of recently. You're now saying that you have no interest whatsoever in being re-involved with the Muppets as of today. Okay, keep that same energy. But then, when somebody asks you in person at one of the Comic Cons or whatever, if you ever go back to the Muppets again, will you join? And you say yes, buddy, you are just lying under your teeth. But somebody will pull the article out of your ass to say you clearly say and don't say that. So it's crazy. There's literally, I guarantee you, I really guarantee you, a lot of fans have probably asked him at Comic Cons and stuff, if you ever was interested to join the Muppets again, would you? And he'd probably say yeah. Like those panels and stuff, he probably would say yeah. I would not be surprised if the recent interview from January that Malone's Pops uploaded, if he said yeah and stuff. But still, crazy. But please keep the same energy, Steve. Please say that you have no interest whatsoever to join the Muppets again. And if a fan sees you in person and if they ask you, would you join again, please say no. And don't say yes just to get their hopes up and stuff, because at the same time, it's so stupid.
I served with Kermit. I know Kermit. Kermit was a friend of mine. Folks, that green frog puppet is no Kermit. His heart and soul are here with me.
You egotistical son of a bitch.
And that is the end.
Oh, come on.
That's insane. I can't see your screen from here anymore.
Save during the spring sales event at Barker Mazda in Houma. Drive home a new Mazda CX-5 and take
of Steve Whitmire's blog post. And I think the biggest thing I feel after reading all of that is just disappointed. For the better part of a decade, I truly wanted to believe that Steve's ousting from the Muppets was purely a business decision. I had hoped that someday he'd maybe return, not as Kermit, but maybe his other characters he originated. I had hoped there wasn't actually any bad blood behind the scenes. I had hoped that Steve Whitmire, although no longer being associated with the Muppets, would still be silently rooting for them behind the scenes. I had hoped that above all else, everything that Disney and the Hensons said about Steve was wrong. But when you read this blog post and read Disney's and Henson's reasons for letting Steve go, things start to make sense. And it's really sad to see so many of Steve's former colleagues, talented puppeteers who are doing an amazing job at carrying on the legacy of the Muppets, have to make small statements on Facebook expressing their disappointment with Steve's characterizations. I think the statement that hurt most of all was from veteran puppeteer Bill Beretta. You may know him as the performer behind iconic characters like Pepe the King Prawn and Bobo the Bear, but notably he took over some of Jim Henson's most iconic characters such as Rolf the Dog, the Swedish Chef, and Dr. Teeth. And it should be noted, Bill has never formally worked with Jim Henson on any Muppet project. He only ran into him once while working a summer job at Sesame Place many years ago. And shortly after Steve put up his blog, Bill posted this statement to Facebook. I will never deny or question what someone believes in their heart because that's who they are. But there's a lot of assumption, misinformation, and a big part of the story missing in here that just isn't a part of what I believe and experienced over my now 30 years with the Muppets, for whatever that's worth. I didn't know you had to know Jim to love, admire, be inspired by, and learn from him. If I had only known, I could have just stayed home.
Hey, put this right here. Bill, for this, because again, I know it's a bit risky for Muppet performers to speak up on certain situations and in cost of their job, but I mean, Bill deserves a lot of flowers because Bill Beretta, he has a lot of passion in various Muppet projects. he was producers in so many of Muppet projects, like the Muppets Mayhem. He was the executive producer. I think it was executive producer in that, along with Muppets Now, Muppets Haunted Mansion, some other Muppet stuff. But W. Bill for putting up the statement, even though it was kind of risky, but for someone who hasn't worked with Jim before, but ran across from him before, like at your summer job, that's good. I'm glad he spoke up about it. I mean, I grew up with Steve, and this doesn't hurt me a lot. It just doesn't surprise me.
What I believe and experienced over my now 30 years with Jim to love, admire, be inspired by, and learn from him. If I had only known, I could have just stayed home. And what a genuinely sad moment. Bill has breathed life into these characters for over 30 years, alongside Steve Whitmire, who was seemingly encouraging him at the time. But now that Steve has been fired from the Muppets, all of Bill's hard work means nothing, and only people who personally knew Jim Henson are worthy successors to taking over his characters. Yeah. And I feel like that's incredibly selfish. Whether we like it or not, the Muppet performers who worked alongside Jim are getting up there in age, and they're not gonna be here forever. And when nobody who worked alongside Jim Henson is around anymore, are we to say that his characters should just cease to exist? Obviously, Jim would want his characters to live on, and he would consciously know that someday Kermit the Frog would be performed by someone that he didn't personally know, because that's how the passage of time works. So to think Steve now feels like he is the only person on this earth who can speak up for Jim Henson just feels wrong. In a moment where we should be celebrating Jim Henson and the return of the Muppets, Steve has chosen to just fan the flames of divisiveness. And while I know his post says he has no hatred towards the Muppet performers and has no intention of doing any harm to future Muppet projects, you have to think he knows what this kind of statement could do. He stayed relatively quiet for 10 years and then drops a massive expose just weeks before the biggest Muppet project of the decade.
A Cup of Joe.
Muppet fan site Tough Pigs put out a small article not too long ago as of filming this that basically echoed the sentiment that it's disappointing to see Steve Whitmire either intentionally or unintentionally fanning the flames of harassment towards Matt Vogel, especially in such a pivotal point in Muppet history. And really, I wasn't going to touch on their piece at all because it basically echoes some of the sentiments I've been rambling about for the past hour, and it's really not super important to our story. But now I feel like I'm obligated to talk about it because Steve's back. Steve really looked at all the chaos that happened in the Muppet fandom in the past month and said,
"We're doing a sequel."
Yes, Lord. Steve's new blog post takes direct aim at Joe Hennes, who is the author and current owner of Tough Pigs, and it really feels like something that should have stayed in DMs. First of all, I view Steve Whitmire as a public figure, so when he comes out and makes statements that some might see as controversial, he is somewhat opening himself up to criticism to a certain extent. But Joe Hennes, and absolutely no disrespect to him, is a somewhat unknown internet blogger from a Muppet fan site. So to have Kermit the Frog writing a call-out post about someone that most people don't know about just feels wrong in a sense. Now, I'm not going to take the time to read through either of these two posts because I feel like they both stray away from the core point I'm trying to make in this video, but there are a couple thoughts I want to share. First off, in regards to Joe's Tough Pigs article responding to Steve's initial blog post, I feel like there were a few missteps in what I consider a generally good faith attempt to bring down the temperature of the situation. First of all, characterizing Steve's blog post as a potential call to action to get Matt Vogel fired, I feel is a bit disingenuous. I've said many times, I don't think Steve is out here to hurt people's feelings, although his words clearly have. And secondly, while I believe that mental health is a very important topic that we should be more open to discussing as a society, I believe that characterizing Steve's initial statement as possibly having to do with his mental health feels a little bit irresponsible. We should all feel comfortable talking about mental health, but everyone's on their own mental health journey, and saying that someone who's expressing their opinion passionately online needs therapy to solve core issues helps no one, in my opinion. Now, in regards to Steve's post, while I personally think it's irresponsible for him to use his platform as a former Muppet performer to potentially send hate to a Muppet fan site, I also acknowledge that some of the accusations that were thrown at him in the Tough Pigs article were equally unfair. It's ultimately one of those everybody sucks here situations where it would have benefited both parties to talk this out in DMs and potentially come up with a joint statement to kind of calm down the Muppet fandom in such a moment. But I do want to highlight one specific thing Steve said in his update post that I do feel services our story. In the end, Joe makes my point for me. His is an entirely exterior, objective assessment of every aspect of it all, leaving him to have become part of the Muppets at Any Cost branch of the fan base, deconstructing version after version after version. It is as though Kermit himself is on life support, and no one is courageous enough to humanely pull the plug. So all of my interjections throughout Steve's first blog post just a few minutes back were all unscripted, and so naturally when I went through editing, I took some things out if I didn't accurately convey the point I was trying to get across. One thing I initially did edit out was me inferring that Steve is saying Kermit the Frog should die because nobody else is worthy of performing him. I thought maybe that was an unfair interpretation of his words, but here it is in black and white. He is literally saying Kermit the Frog is on life support and someone should do the right thing and pull the plug. Again, I personally think that is an insane argument to make, but I am not going to disregard Steve's feelings in this situation because of the two of us, only one of us knew Kermit the Frog. And again, I'm not saying that Steve is not allowed to speak his mind on this topic now or at any time. And I don't think he ever truly meant to offend any of his fellow Muppet performers. But sometimes you have to reconcile that your words are doing harm to those you care about. And I'm also not going to pretend that Steve potentially seeing this video and writing a less than flattering blog post about me doesn't scare me. I grew up with Steve Whitmire as my Kermit, basically idolizing him and all the other Muppet performers. But now I too am a public figure and I too am open to criticism. But Steve Whitmire disapproving of me will still hurt. But that being said, I stand by everything I've said in this video. It's really sad that it's come to a point where you basically have to pick sides in this situation. And by saying that you have faith in Matt Vogel to respectfully carry the torch of Kermit the Frog, you're basically spitting on the grave of Jim Henson. There's not a single person on Earth that wouldn't love to have Jim Henson back.
Of course.
But that's not going to happen. And there are so many of us that would love to have Steve Whitmire back with the Muppets. But that's not going to happen. But I can't think of a single Muppet fan who says because those two people can no longer work with the Muppets, we should write off the franchise as a whole. The Muppets today still bring joy to millions of people, myself included. I think it's important for the Muppets to grow and evolve in this new generation. And like anything else in this world, there are going to be some missteps along the way. But if we were going to write off the Muppets because of a single less than stellar project, we should have written them off dozens of times over the past 70 years. I, like so many others, love the Muppets no matter what they do. And does that make me a Muppets at Any Cost person? Yeah, I guess it does. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Muppets at Any Cost doesn't mean I can't be critical or objective about the characters in the franchise. It just means every thought and action I have comes from a place of love and appreciation for what this brand has done. And finally, to answer Steve's question, where, oh where has our little frog gone? He never left. And it feels like people are just now starting to realize that.
Conclusion. But yes, you're right. There is a difference between saying his thoughts and there's that tag. He's just saying his thoughts because he's a jealous little piece of prick, and then he's letting people get in his head about social media and stuff through the comments and all. Let's be particularly honest here, guys. I don't think Steve Whitmire should have spoke about this whatsoever in this whole entire statement. I mean, if I'm gonna rewind his statement again, he's mad because Disney greenlight the Muppet Show. Not greenlight. Disney did a Muppet Show pilot reboot, and that's something he's been saying for about years now. again, it's ridiculous. But now you're throwing shade at Matt Vogel, you're throwing shade at Day Goes, you're throwing shade at Peter Linz, Bill Beretta, and all these other performers who work with the Muppets. You're just throwing shade at them, saying, "Hey, you guys are just the tribute band. I was the one that carried on this brand, but now since I'm gone, y'all are hopeless without me." That's what it sounds like. And like so
The
stupid.
Borg found new ground.
As of recording this, the new Muppet Show special has released, and it seems like we've entered the first phase of the general public finally accepting Matt Vogel as Kermit the Frog. While hardcore Muppet fans have been hearing his version of Kermit the Frog for the better part of a decade now, this Muppet Show special was a lot of people's first time experiencing his interpretation of Kermit in a long-form piece of media, and it seems that's exactly what they needed. Immediately after the Muppet Show special aired on ABC, Twitter was flooded with clips and comments about Matt Vogel's Kermit, and they were overwhelmingly positive for the first time in 9 years. On February 1st, a Twitter user posted, "Matt Vogel is a great puppeteer and has Kermit's physical mannerisms down perfectly. He just cannot for the life of him do the voice." But right after the new special aired, they added a new tweet saying, "I'm not gonna lie, I think the new Muppet Show special has sold me on Matt Vogel's Kermit. Aside from Muppets Now, there hasn't been a single Kermit-led Muppets project since he took over. I think having actual screen time interacting with the other Muppets has helped his performance a lot. Matt Vogel, it seems I've grown quite fond of your non-impersonation Kermit. Though I wanted you dead after Haunted Mansion."
Ouch. That's harsh.
"You came to me as a long-lost friend whom I once picked talking apples with in Swedish Chef's orchard." Maybe disregard the wanting him dead thing, but otherwise, very sweet. There was a clip that went semi-viral of Kermit making this face when he introduced Rizzo the Rat's musical number.
The rat-infested streets.
You can tell that's that Jim performance right there. I love that little scene. Talking about the rats, and like that's the Jim performance. I'm gonna play that back one more time for you guys. Look at that little how he did it.
But this is legitimately the moment that sold me on
Vested
performance a lot. Matt Vogel, it seems I've grown quite Rizzo the Rat's musical number.
The rat-infested streets.
And
that's how you perform Kermit. That's how Jim would do it with Kermit. That was good.
One Twitter user summed up a lot of people's thoughts when they said, "Okay, but this is legitimately the moment that sold me on Matt Vogel as Kermit. Matt Vogel, your Kermit is pretty great. I apologize for doubting it." Big ups to Matt Vogel. He's been filling big shoes for a while now, but this was my first exposure to his Kermit. He's wonderful, grounding the show in a performance that feels sincere, respectful, and totally entertaining. I won't lie, I've been a Matt Vogel Kermit hater for a long time, but it's actually not that noticeable when you're watching the episode. Not gonna lie, seeing the Muppet Show special warmed me up to Matt Vogel a lot more. The way he moves with Kermit is so funny, and I really do feel like he does the character well. Of course, we all know Kermit for his iconic voice, but I've been able to look past the wonkiness. Matt Vogel, I was not aware of your game. What an icon. I think Vogel's puppet acting is honestly incredible. Handling Kermit's physicality seems like a harder job than the voice, and I think he's nailing the actual performance. I'm warming up to the voice. He doesn't need to sound identical to Henson. The spirit is there. Seeing him in a full production rather than in 2 to 3 minute YouTube sketches is such a benefit. After even just a few extra minutes with him, I felt in good hands. His puppeteering is genuinely so good, it makes me forget the voice is different. Like, that's just Kermit. The Muppets are so back. I formally owe Matt Vogel an apology for what I've said about his Kermit. I am fully on board after this. And as someone who's been supportive of Matt Vogel since the day he took over the character, it genuinely warms my heart to see the general public finally giving him his flowers. Sure, not everyone's going to be on board right away, or maybe will ever be on board, and that's okay.
That is true. I mean, look at the people, back in the day when Rockstar Chucky was on board. When Rockstar Chucky debated. not a lot of people was on board with Chucky's new voice, or with Helen's voice or Munch's voice. And granted, I don't know. Maybe there's some people who still aren't on board today with the current voice actors or how they portray the characters. I mean, I admit I was not really on board um, um, about with Chucky's voice at first, and it took me a good while when he first came out to actually accept the fact, like, okay, this Chuck is kind of cool. I really like the new voice, but yeah, I can actually see that. We just got used to it after a while, especially with 2.0 in the last years. I don't think people are still over that, pal. You're right.
Many people never got over the death of Jim Henson and never accepted Steve as their Kermit. So there will likely be people who grew up with Steve Whitmire's Kermit and won't accept Matt's Kermit. But I think it is so important for someone to step up, take the reins, and lead the Muppets into a new era so they can continue to play the music, light the lights, and entertain millions for decades to come. And Matt Vogel, you have my full support. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I am so sorry for the runtime. This is a topic I've wanted to talk about.
No, he's not sorry for the runtime. He did it on purpose because this is something that he didn't want to do for a very long time. But he just apologized about it because he just apologized about it. See, me personally, I will definitely apologize for the runtime for my interpretation. I'm just kidding. Okay, I no hate against Sully.
For a long time, so thank you guys for indulging me, even if nobody made it to this point in the video. If you're interested in more Muppet stuff, I uploaded a member-exclusive video where I talk more about my thoughts on the new Muppet Show and how great it is. Sorry, spoiler alert. Memberships...
Y'all ain't getting it tonight.
Start at 99 cents a month, and they directly help me make more content for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, be kind to one another, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Hey, it's Uncle Creepy. I mean, Clunk. All right. Oh, that was a video. And I'm so glad.
On top of your...
Okay, cool. I'm so glad. What do you mean on the 18th of... You son of a bluffer. Was that the one you were supposed to read recently? Oh, you son of a bluffer. All right, Ducky. When I watch my member exclusive content, don't say anything. I'll just remember that and be like, I'm dedicating this one to Ducky because he hates member exclusive content. And if I see your name be out there saying Ducky's a member, I'm gonna come up to your deal and be like, you son of a bitch. The fuck you said about my membership content? Now I gotta wait all the way to the 18th of April. Fine. But that was a video. That was definitely a video. A video that was a video. All right, so we're gonna take a brief pause now because we just sat here for a good while and chugged everything in, and let's just get all that deep dive brain cells out the way. All right, folks, let's enjoy something else. I hate Uncle Clunk. Oh, well, fuck you, bitch. You don't even watch my shit anyway. All right, folks. We're going to run it back a Rockfire performance. I was going to say Jack recent video.
Okay.
But I feel like I hear that song too many times, especially on my free time. Actually, I'm gonna play something else from Magic. Escapades. Well, since you insist, actually. Yeah, might as well. One more second, let me find it. You damn right we haven't. I didn't say I forgot him, but The mystery of you cheese. Yeah. All right, Cheddar, for you, we're gonna run it back tonight. All right, Cheddar, you ready? You ready to go on a getaway? it's not Friday, but you ready to go on this nice little escapade with some Motown hits from the Supremes? We're gonna do a certified concert cheese classic. Uh, those probably know what this is because we were playing this banger constantly on the loophole. So now it's time to bring back the banger. So, ladies and gentlemen, for your entertainment pleasure tonight, let's play the hits straight from Denverport 18 Entertainment Department office. Time to go on a little escapade.
You'd wanna hang for a while. Well, I'd like to be with you, and you know it's Friday too. I hope we can find some time this weekend to relax and unwind. I'm so tired of work so hard all week. Ooh. I've cashed the check, I'm ready to go. I promise you, I'll show you such a good time. Come on, baby, let's get away. Let's save our troubles for another day. Come go with me, we got it made. Let me take you on an escapade. Let's go. Don't come back, just have a good time. We'll make the rules up as we go along and break them all if we're not having fun. Come on, baby, let's get away. Let's save our troubles for another day. Come go with me, you got it made. Let me take you on an escapade, Well, I've been crying, ooh, 'cause I'm lonely for you. Smiles have altered to tears, but tears won't wash away the fears that you're never ever gonna turn to ease the fire that within me burns. Keeps me crying, baby, for you. Keeps me sighing, baby, for you. So won't you hurry? Come on, boy, see about me. Come see about me. See about you, baby. Come see about me. I've given up my friends just for you. My friends are gone and you have to. No peace shall I find until you come back and be mine. No matter what you do or say, I'm gonna love you anyway. Keep on crying, baby, for you. I'm gonna keep sighing, baby, for you. So come on, hurry. Come on and see about me. Come see about me. See about you, baby. Come see about me.
You know, what's one thing I always love about Donovan's programming is how much time and patience he really puts into bringing those characters alive. His programming is so unmatched. Uh, I gotta say, undoubtedly one of the best programmers ever. I think he's been doing it. I think his first show, if I'm not mistaken, was like April 2013. I don't know when Michael left, but I know he said April 2013 for the existing stage wise was his first show that he programmed. And then he also did, I think he did 74 for January 2014. I don't know if he did like the whole entire show. Like I said, I don't know when Michael left CEC because I think he left right right around they moved to the new office. Yeah, I did see that. I did see that. I was out actually. Um, he was in the office Thursday. Yeah, I was out Thursday, and I see he was live. I see he was live too on Instagram, but I ain't really catch much of his stream. I remember the first time he was live, he was teasing something that he was programming something for YouTube wise, and then like I said, I was out Thursday, so I didn't really get a chance. Like, I only seen a glimpse of his stream Thursday. Actually, not think about it. And then I kind of just didn't catch like everything else because with Donovan, when he programs, he mutes his streams and people just say anything in the chat and they just watch the characters get programmed. Then he unmutes himself, interacts with the chat, and then immediately mutes right back in. Because I know also too, like there's a lot of clinking and clanking of sounds being run in, and I know some people don't like to hear the sounds and all, and I know that's a lot of stuff. But yeah, let me pull that bad boy up if they find it. I did say Thursday, so I think it was uploaded Thursday. Yeah, it's right here.
All I need is my guitar and a meal. That's a deal. Oh yeah! Having lots of stuff ain't the answer. That takes up just too much of my time. I'd rather spend my years on something better, like spending time with all these friends of mine. So if you like this story that I'm weaving, if you think I'm not just a squeaky wheel, then everybody shout it out together. Say it nice and loud. Oh, that's a deal! That's a deal. Saying.
So if I had to, a lot, I know that video in the comment section saying that the person thinks that he's gonna put it out for legacy stores. And the only difference is that the only way he can put it out for legacy stores if only corporate pays Donovan the money to like actually get that song program into the show. Which I really think he's gonna upload it to YouTube just for fun because yeah, he's only there for a freelance basis, and he said he programmed Birthday Star 2023. He also programmed This Friendship Ain't No Accident, but he said the only way he'll release those if the company flat out like pays him to like, that's the only way. So I can see that's the deal, like being like a YouTube thing, just for something that that he's doing for fun. I can actually see that instead of like going through all that trouble and then putting in the show system and you're not getting paid to doing it and stuff. So, but I love his programming. I really do. I really love his programming. He got a nice, unique style to it, and I'm glad that he's still programming in the office from time to time. That whenever he get a chance, because I know he works full time at the airport, and he goes in for checks from time to time when he can. Because usually he still works on the international shows too as well. So not only he works like making sure all the songs in the Navori system for Fireball is programmed, especially for Pizza Cam and Munch Jr. he works on the international shows and makes sure they have like their sort of stuff too. So he be's in the office from time to time when can. So I'm excited to see the finishing project of it, of the process of it all. No, I don't think so. No, I could just see it for YouTube. People are speculating, oh, it's for legacy stores, but it's not. If that was the case, then birthday, the birthday show would have been programmed. We would have had data for that or data for that. But no, they're not going to do it. Corporate refused to put money into anybody's pockets to get paid for it. They're like they have it, but they just refuse to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like with the voice actors, they can get them back in the studio and like record some new songs, some new materials, but they refuse to pay them because they don't have the money or claim they don't have the money um, for it. So yeah, they care less. They only care about AI sloppy slop and other ridiculous things. So again, they had the money for it. Paid them up front, put it on the table. But at the same time, it's like they just don't want to because why not? That's just how they work. But instead, it's cool for you guys to reuse content and other stuff, and keep teasing this redub version of "Chasing Me a Truck," which I'm, not surprised that there's no full video of it yet. It's just short clips of hearing Helen's auto tune and all. But it's cool because we get That's a Deal, a song that's been redubbed 6 years ago as well. Uh, that was in a compilation for an Avenue Fun Break during that particular era, and you keep saying fuck, get the fuck out of here. You keep saying that they're not doing walkarounds for it. It doesn't make sense. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, and that's their problem. It's not. It's not broke. There's nothing to fix. Use the puppet Jasper. Use a green screen and call it a day. Don't use a walk around because walk around Jasper ain't gonna do nothing in the damn music video. Puppet Jasper is so much better because Puppet Jasper actually works better. That that's not gonna work unless they want views. And yeah, okay, make views off of it because that's our cheapest route to go. But no, walk around for that particular song is not gonna work whatsoever. It's gonna make it more. It's gonna make the song 10 times worse than what it already is. Well, true, it is CEC. You know what else isn't broke? That clearly they didn't have fixed too. Well, this is also the same company as well that he's shoving out so much stupid stuff about Chucky's and Friends and other stuff. That was already broke. There's nothing you can fix off of that. That is true. They'll do anything they can to make anything. They'll look at it like, oh, this is broke. We're gonna fix it. Like, really? So I totally agree. Yes, they'll spend more money on AI than other stupid shit. Honestly, and it's fucking ridiculous. They have money for that though. They got money for that. And they got money for everything else. I'm telling you, bro. Like, you can put the voice actors back in the studio, record some new material. And I guarantee you, they have a bunch of material with the voice actors somewhere in their vaults that probably ain't gonna release to. Well, this show is gonna end at the 5th of April, so we probably, if we get into the summer stuff around April, which I see that unlikely in April though, but still, if we get into a summer show, that'd be so horrible. It'd be nice if the audio was new, but it was likely recorded. Yeah, that was someone else said that it was recorded not in the Song of the Key of E. It was probably recorded between like the Music Friends and Fun for All era. Songs in the Key of E did not deserve a redub whatsoever because it didn't fit. It was fine for what it was in the 2018 release, respectively, because that's when we had the new songs, More Cheese, Jasper Country Classic, and The Easy Dance. And then you just pull it off the Spotify and claim that's like this new album for no reason. 2019, I think it was 2019, not 2020. 2019, and claim that's a new album between those 2 years, and it was like so stupid. Honestly, it was really kind of stupid. It has to be around Music Friends and Fun for All. That it got to be, because in the future I also got to redub, but that version we do not speak on actually whatsoever. But just release the video, like just release the public video of Chase Me a Truck. Act like it's a re-upload for no reason. So yeah. I mean, a lot of people say it's already dated because in 2027 we'll just Jordan sent to the stores, and a lot of people are keep claiming that like they probably won't use it in 2027. I would not be surprised if CEC again, if CEC reuse that song in 2027, and if they say like, hey, we're using that song again for no reason. I don't think they listen to the lyrics clearly enough. Like, I would not be surprised by next year if they reuse in the future once again, because it's just a song to them, and to us fans is like, you're clearly saying something that's already happening or whatever, but they would not give a shit. So guess what? Why would I give a shit to something like that? So if they reuse it in 2027, then hey, that's cool. It's cool with me. I like the song either way. And they got other like years too that's also mentioned. Like in 2063, the movie comes stage. Cars can levitate. Everything is great, and some other stuff. Remember that time the company fell up in that after they ran out of the magic? Yeah, exactly. I gotta run back the clip again, huh, brother? Okay, I'm running back your little slideshow clip not one more time, but I'm running it back again. Where did it went? Here it is. This sums up very perfectly. I'm playing this back again for those who haven't seen it the first time.
Flip through the book, look back and you'll find pressed in the pages are moments in time, a still memory, so we can all see that we had some really good times.
We've had such great adventures and they're so fun to see. You guys are my best friends, the best there could be. I can't wait to see what our future will bring. We'll have some really good times.
We can't wait to see what our future will bring. We'll have some really good times.
I just love looking at these old pictures. It brings back so many good memories.
Yeah, that did not happen.
Never gets old, actually. We were the Chase Me a Truck Liquor compilation. It was hitting in the 20s. Nice. Yeah. We'll be surprised if they upload it tomorrow and be like, hey guys, new video. Chase Me a Truck, but it's completely redubbed. Sundays they like to upload a lot of reused content. So, I'm surprised by that too, because that's actually one of the songs where they say like, "Hey, we're not going to reuse this song whatsoever because we don't want kids to get the message of like going out and chasing vehicles." But then you have the audacity to actually pull it as a short and hinting the fact like, "Okay, you guys are going to re-upload this song whatsoever because we're running out of ideas to put out." So at this point, CEC Melissa, I guarantee you're running that channel. Um, upload it to YouTube. Stop providing these stupid little shorts and just upload it. Make it happen. Put it in a compilation or whatever, and just call it a day. Get fans mad. We can talk about it for days, for hours, for years. Do it. You can make views off of it. I know you want to, but still do it. What's stopping you? You got a consistent, interesting schedule. So what are you waiting for? Upload it. So and then it can be all said and done. That's literally what I'm trying to point out there.
Something new like name that tune or trivia again, and age. And I even said that in one of my surveys. I said the trivia needs to be age appropriated. Like in different groups. Like have one for the younger ones, one for older people.
Yeah,
and I
that's
felt
probably
like they should do that for the costume contest too. That again, like I said, wasn't fair last year, and I got to actually be a judge on that. Oh, you sent me a photo. Okay.
true. Oh well. I mean, it's easy. So guess what? And nothing surprised me anymore from this company. I mean, look, Mark Kupperman is still in office. Scott Drake's a great start. Do you really think? Honestly, no. Let's be 100% honest here. No. Well, then again, fuck. What am I talking about? It's kids. Do you see how many YouTubers are out here doing the most dumbest shit ever? And kids look up to them as like rivals and not rivals, but like idols and stuff. So to hint that saying in a way, and I can understand why that song isn't getting a return because of that particular reason. But to say, hey, little Timmy, you want to go outside and go chase a fucking vehicle? Sure. I feel like that's not the worst case scenario in like ways of saying kids can do literally anything. I mean, again, look at all the big content creators, the streamers and stuff that does so much worse stuff, and kids looks up to them as like these role models and these inspiration, and they're idols. Oh my god, I worship you. I look up to you, and stuff like that. So to answer your question, I mean, if we're not counting the song wise, I generally do not advise any children to go chase a vehicle because you will not survive for that whatsoever. So I don't think they will. But if they do under some dumb shit, so, yeah. So yeah, updated version for fun. No, we do not, bro. Shut the fuck up. Those Avenger votes should not be touched. Oh. No, I was just putting prime examples of I was putting prime examples of stuff. I was just saying like randomly like big YouTubers who do like dumb stuff and kids look up to them. Like the prank callers and shit like that. They do like dumb shit and kids look up to them and they fall right behind their shoes because why not? you know like the Mr. Beats and the fucking SMLs and those other big streamers and YouTubers that kids look up to nowadays, and they do like the most stupid stuff because they do it. It's like, hey, they're doing it, I should do it because I'm a little cool in front of my friends. The quote unquote role models of the centuries, and there's a ton of videos out there actually, but you gotta get you get the point. Um, as long as kids look up to them, then hey, they'll do anything. They'll do anything for clout and for content. Yeah, exactly. Logan Paul too. Yeah. Of course, another prime example. Or the I Show Speed. You know, I ain't gonna say Kai Cenat because I don't hear anything bad about Kai, but those types of people. I see. Probably so. That too. Okay, I know I'm gonna have regrets of asking this question here, but Jonathan, I want to circle back on something that we were discussing earlier in the chat while we were watching Steve's video. I'm just curious on something. Um, so what's up with that claim with I'm not gonna speak on it, but I'm gonna just say like you can scroll up to if you want. So what was that claim about Mr. Showbizpizza.com about the whole craziness and stuff? I'm kind of curious on that story. I'm kind of curious of hearing that story. I was like, shit, when we end this fucking video, I'm just asking, dig more deeper into this because that's something I never really heard about. Oh, we were just talking about chasing me a truck and how it wasn't gonna return because corporate don't want kids like literally chasing vehicles. And Jonathan actually was like, "Oh, to be fair, there's a lot of dumb people that does dumb shit." So it's a good song, but the message is not like go chase a vehicle, kids, because you can die. But if your influencer, your role model is doing it, then don't do it. It's like saying, "Hey, your role model is jumping off a bridge. You shouldn't do it." Saying like, "Oh, your friends jump off the bridge. Will you do it?" Nowadays, kids don't fully understand what's right and what's wrong in this world. So and don't do drugs or drink. Don't do drugs. Specifically, don't do drugs. A lot of role models also do drugs. I feel like this fan has wind me enough in front of my face. I'm about to move it back over now. Then I gotta put my heater on. Alright, I do a bug. Do. Oh, this one plays out right there for a second. No, the door closed. No. It was something else. It was about Travis. We were talking about Travis earlier. Then you mentioned something. And I was asking about the, you have any info about that whatsoever? Something with TJ that you had mentioned, and I was like, the fuck? And then I didn't want to. I was like, I'm asking later because maybe I heard of it, maybe I didn't heard of it. So I'm just curious on the insights of it actually. Okay. Yeah. Turn off 1 second. Come back around. The countless stories people heard in community who do much. And the fact that they're still friends is crazy. And those countless of stories are not wrong, actually. But yeah, the fact that they are still friends and like still good and whatever is crazy. Just something to think about, Like, damn, I really thought that Travis was a really cool dude, But then, once this whole shit kind of went up, like, well, where is he at? Actually, I'm gonna text him because I know he probably dipped it off. And I was hoping he would like say something about it. Cause I know Deshaun, he be having all the tea. Okay, I text him. Oh, there he is. I think my notification has worked it. Heard about it through a live stream almost, so she didn't say his name, but few people, but they kept him nameless. But that's the thing. I don't really catch with her streams that much anymore, to be honest with you. Like I said, the last time I caught the stream was when she had like a little Sun K special thing. But yeah, that's crazy. And like, and I seen this early, and I seen this a while back in our group chat, Deshaun, saying that she was playing like radio showbiz and everything, and I shit you not, um, he reposted, not posted, yeah, he reposted her story of her like listening to radio showbiz and stuff. True. Yeah, crazy because I don't give a shit how she feels about this at the end of the day, but crazy. Listen to the radio station and stuff, and I was like, that's crazy, bro. Um, I don't know, bro. I really don't know what to say, to be honest. Um, exactly. It has not been updated in years. Exactly. There's a thing about with Travis' actions, and this is kind of like I'm gonna spill you my own personal story right here. So back when I forgot when David has little like accused and stuff of him being a pedophile. I think it was around like 2020. Ever want to say? I think it was 2020 or like between 2020 like 21, right? David Ferguson was accused as like being a pedophile in the community. Um, and people like was turning on David. So it was a two-sided like thing, right? It was like people supporting David and backing up his claim. People were like um against David for it and all. And this one like demonic was like uh still like in the YouTube game and everything. Um too. Now I did hear some things about Damon as well. I did. Um Crap. I'm not gonna go in too much of that whole like rabbit hole detail because I did talk to the person about it, and like we had a conversation of it and all at the time, at least at the time and all, and like I don't know, David did some more worse shit than Damon did. I'm just gonna leave it right there. Um, I'm not just saying that because like I met the dude and everything, but I feel like between his situation and like David's situation, David did like one of the worst shits ever. Like, if you really tell a girl, like, hey, let me see your fucking booze, and I'll play like your favorite Rocket Fire show back to back. It's like, the fuck are you even doing, bro? Like, what type of fucking shit are you on? And granted, at the time for me, it was just like, I was kind of like getting into this whole, like, I was learning a bit of the whole drama thing. And I know I admitted this too when we and Demonic we talked about it on this little pod. Like I made a little comment saying that, oh, everybody makes mistakes and they deserve a second chance. And this is kind of like, it's kind of like, this was like way before this whole drama escalated into like more into it, and then kind of like realizing it after and all. But there was the beginning of the drama, right? This beginning of the mafia drama of it in a way, in a circle around that. And I know from Demonis' case, he said that Damon said he did not want he didn't want nothing to do with this whatsoever, which again is understandable. Because I know, he has his own thing going on. Plus, Aaron was trying to like, sue Smitty Super Service Station as well too. That's story for another day. The only person who was in his defense, besides from Tabitha, was Travis, because Travis was the one that made a whole entire post of defending David and fighting with Demonic about this whole situation and stuff. I think he made like a whole public post about it years ago, explaining about David's actions and his actions and shit like that and all, which, God, that was like, see, that was a rabbit hole I did not want to really revisit whatsoever. And I was kind of like on like, during the time when me and Tabitha was like, we were still cool, we were still friends and whatever. I kind of like, I felt it bad for her because she was going through all this so much drama and stuff. But I was still watching demonic stuff. But anyway, that's the point. I believe what led this whole downfall to where it's like why me and Travis, at least to my knowledge, we're not cool anymore, and I'm okay with that. Is the fact that I went ahead and I spoke up about like this whole situation about him and Tabitha together, the whole stuff with David and everything, and I guess it kind of didn't sit well with them. And here's the thing: I know so much and I talk a lot and whatever, but when I just speak my mind about a certain subject, I'm gonna speak my mind about the certain subject, whether if you like it or you don't like it. If you feel some type of way about it, you don't. I'm just gonna speak my mind and just speak my like honest truth. And so I just spoke about their relationship and stuff. I mean, I did brought his daughter in the situation, and I guess that's kind of like where it's like they low key. I don't know. Travis does not fuck with me anymore because of it. Honestly, I really can get two fucks about it now. Being real, because nowadays it's like, you know, I can support you for like bringing in a website for fans, right? And pulling out a lot of archive stuff from childhood. Because again, I grew up on StrippleCheese.com, so I would be on the website a lot as a kid. But the other stuff that you did behind the scenes, being this uncomfortable person, and you know being this creep in this community, but people still see you as like the godfather of this community, along with plus two stealing posts from people like from Deshaun. Yeah, I was like, no, I can't see, like, I can't support you on that level. I'm assuming support you on this. Okay, you know, this whole website and stuff. That's it. That's how I see it as. Um, I'm also happy to like talk to Travis during those times about some things, and he gave me some certain audios of stuff. But still, stuff like that is just fucking crazy. But like I said, the fact that she's still cool with them is crazy. So I don't know. I really don't know. And if that was the case, what did the video like be taken down? Like, would she like take off the video off her channel and stuff or something like that? Some deep shit, some really deep shit to think about. Right. Oh, we already know who she really be writing the most out of all of them. We already know who. I would not be surprised if if none of them likes Tabitha. I would not be surprised if they don't like Tabitha. Now I don't know who's really a part of the mafia, but like I said, I would not be surprised. You know, like I'm about to download those videos from her. Yeah, right. Wouldn't care too much about it, honestly. But I wouldn't care too much about it. It was just like 1, 2 particular videos, but still. It's just still crazy how she still want to shit talk about shit that happens with me that wasn't allegedly fucking true, but go tell her and Tyler at the time that, oh, I did some sexual stuff and I shouldn't be trusting the community and like stuff like that. Like that was totally ridiculous. Like you really just gonna go start shit for what? Even though I don't really, I mean, I talk about her like on the side and everything, but still, that's one thing about Tabby. Like, she's a messy ass person. So, she's really messy on a lot of cases and all. So, oh well. I mean, it probably was to other people. Like I said, I don't watch her streams that much anymore. The last time I watched was the special stream, and that was it. Other than that, I don't be tuning into her videos premieres. Like, well, I don't because I work on Sundays, but I don't tune into like her videos like afterwards. I had not watched her videos. I think the last time I watched a TJ video, when's the last time I actually watched a TJ video? To be honest with you, the last time I watched an actual TJ video was it was her short that she uploaded 2 weeks ago about the Kmart thing. Other than that, I don't really watch like her other videos that she recently uploaded. I didn't watch the Mayfield Heist one. I didn't watch the Toys R Us one. I didn't watch the video game one. I probably won't watch tomorrow's video either. I canceled my membership because it, to me, it didn't really make any sense anymore to like be a member or something, even though there's not really much like member type videos and all lately been dropping. So I just left her membership to join Jack's membership because I feel like Jax has something more promising in his little membership, and I was just like, oh fuck this, dude, you're about to restore animatronic band. That's why I convinced Dookie and Deshaun to get on. I said, boys, we got to do this, bro. Like, this is a Gaslight Village being restored with this amount. Like, oh yeah, we got to do this, bro. So I was the one that convinced them to like, we got to do it for Gaslight. Yeah, I used to, but I stopped. Like, I just stopped watching. And that's the thing. I don't watch a lot of like Chuck E. Cheese content videos. I watch other stuff. I watch like police scan type videos and stuff for background noise. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Gaslight Jamboree, Restore Uncle Clump, and some other stuff. And you cannot beat that. Cannot beat that price. And he's promising that he'll do it on the side. Yeah. Of course. I think the last time Tay dropped it, a membership video was whenever she did the Jackbox game. And that was literally it. And then plus I was missing out on payments too. So I was kind of like, man, you know what? I was getting sick and tired of it because I was missing so much payments. And then I was just kind of like, I had Sully's membership, which, you know, he's dropping another one next month actually. And then I had TJ's one too. So I was kind of like, she ain't really dropping anything membership videos wise lately. And there was like no point in me to continuing like going back to the membership and paying off like almost $4 a month and missing a payment every time. So I was kind of like, this doesn't work for me anymore. Like, I'll still support you, but I won't join the membership, but you ain't bringing membership stuff to the table as I talked about. You know what I'm saying? Like those other videos that she had, those could have been like easy access membership, like the Mayfield Heights and all the other stuff could have been like membership videos. But I don't know. Her mindset is on a different point of view, and I don't want to get into the whole entire hole because that's just gonna be something I don't want to disclose of. But it's up to you, really up to you, man. But I just canceled it because I'm like, I can't be part of this no more as of right now. Maybe I'll renew it at a later date if I get tired of either or membership. But as of right now, I'm fine with just 2 memberships. And I'm also fine with kind of watching it. I always watch, and I do this for background noise too sometimes. I don't know why. I watch those like police scans, like the body cam videos. They're sometimes interesting to watch. So I watch that on my free time. Sometimes, like I said, I put up some background noise. Public freakouts compilations where like people freak out in public and do like stupid shit. Again, sometimes I put them in for background noise. Those interest me a lot. And then sometimes too, if like a Michael Jackson video comes up, like a video essay about Michael or anything else, and I go watch something like that. Video essays type videos. CEC is like a here or there thing. So that mainly sometimes be on my phone. So I kind of like watch like other videos of stuff. Yeah, it's something that I watch on my free time. Sometimes background noise, sometimes I actually watch it. And then I watch the same videos over and over again. Because I don't know, something about like police cam, body cam videos just interests me. Just like seeing so many incidents happen. And just let's watching how these people just acts up. It's just so ridiculous, and you just see these police officers just trying to do their job to to get rid of the crime or whatever, and then you figure out like what charges they have. So it really depends if like the thumbnail interests me and if the title interests me, then I'll watch it, and I just listen back and see what they be doing, and I'd be like, dang, this is. Some situations this could have been handled so easily, but you decided to act like a straight dick, and then your ass is getting tackled and stuff, and And I can tell by the frustration how these body cams officers are. One thing that bothers me though is like, why would they upload them like a year and month like after an incident happened? That's one thing that always boggles my mind. Like on July 18th, 2022, officer was informed of this sort of case, and it's like, if you uploaded this 6 hours ago, why you didn't upload this literally the year or the day after the incident happened, instead of like, that's one thing that boggles my mind, man. Me, I watch 3D printing videos, some movie reviews, that too. Um, Movies, Hollywood, news podcasts, and podcasts in general when I'm in the mood. Well, I got a great podcast for you, actually, my friend, and you're actually gonna love this podcast here. So you're talking about podcasts. I got this. This is a really cool podcast, actually, and I think you should really recommend checking out. Let me just flip it over here. So you see this podcast here called CE Talk Show. It is actually the Great All American Pizza Podcast. Yeah, it's not affiliated with CEC Entertainment whatsoever. You see, they got this really cool, awesome host. His name is Charles Tucker. He might be a fucking weirdo, but he got some really great, awesome ass fucking bangers. Ooh, look at that. He interviewed Scott Wilson. No, wait, his former partner interviewed Scott Wilson. Ooh, look at that. 1.1K views. You can't beat nothing like that. And this man got some great, interesting sort of topics that you can really enjoy. Look at that. Yummy, yummy, yummy. And there's no AI slopping to it. Yeah, okay, let me stop self-promoting myself here. Yeah, I had to do it. Because like he said podcast. So I opened up to it. All right. He said podcast. So guess what? I had to do it, but I understand what he means. But yeah, man, I watch a lot of variety of stuff. Especially the deep dive videos. I love deep dives videos. They take me about days to watch, and that's that's me. Yes, yeah. So that's one thing that I always love. Deep dive videos always interest me, and I think that's why I kind of like was getting into more of the Michael catalogs, especially with Blood on the Dance Floor, because been recently listening to that album a lot lately, aside from the remix. But there's this great, interesting video about Blood on the Dance Floor. It's a great deep dive of it, and it took me a few days to watch. And I was like, I'm about to listen to this album, see what the hype's about now. And yeah, I actually loved it. I think there's more Michael stuff that I listened to. I know there was a deep dive about the two posthumous albums, Michael and Escape. Took me a few days to watch that, and I was like, this is fucking great. Oh. Some stuff I just easily watch offhand, you know. Well, so glad I'm a podcast. Got you introduced to the channel. Oh, plus I watch a lot of wrestling too. Like I'm also really big into wrestling stuff, so I watch those as well on my free time, like here and there. So I like almost a variety of things. Thank you. The Studio C video will always be my favorite one, and I go back to that video every time I go to the podcast. Like that's my favorite video. I kind of wish, I don't know, maybe this is me talking. I kind of wish it did better on views, and I'm proud of how the views are for that. I just wish that, I don't know. I just wish that it did better, like views wise. And I understand why Pinesville is right up on the top right now because it's obvious. But I just wish like with Studio C, it's kind of like, damn, that's one of my best projects that I really put a lot of time and energy into and really discuss like in-depth history of Studio C. I think that's considered like a deep dive, yeah. But I'm proud of it though. Either way, I'm really proud of it. I'm so proud of it. One of my best projects, actually, that I love from the channel. Um, so nothing will ever replace, at least for now, nothing will ever replace that. But if I had to actually rate the episodes for sure, let's do it. Okay, so right off the bat, I said my number one favorite would be this one right here. The Downfall of Studio See What Happens will forever be my number one damn bug. Will forever be like my number one favorite. Um what is second best for me for topics here? Second best topic. Um damn bug is flying around. That's a hard one. I'd say the future of the Chuck E. Cheese's legacy stores would have been my second. Oh damn! Would be my second favorite because of how much information we got around that particular time of the other legacy stores. Plus, I love some parts of the editing that I did too. By the way, God, I hate picking. Third favorite. So there you go. Yeah, my third favorite would have to be the future of the Chuck E. Cheese retro stores. Um, that was a good title, actually. Granted, that was not the actual finalized thumbnail that I used. I don't know what happened to the original one, so forgive me for that. That was a good one, especially with the stuff with Northridge. That was pretty cool, and that one really blew up a lot too, as well. And I didn't think that the algorithm was gonna go that crazy for that particular video, but it did, and I'm so happy how that came out. And which I was gonna include Pinesville as well in the video, but then I was like, no, it's gonna say Pinesville for its own. Speaking of Pinesville, that's gonna be my next one right here. Um, let's see, four favorite, yeah. This one my fourth favorite. Um, I really love um I really love how Beast Kai made the whole thumbnail and stuff. Which I'm really proud about that. So here's the thing. I see a lot of other YouTubers do that too, just to gain off of views and stuff. I'm not the one to go here and like change it up, because if I do that, then I have to change the thumbnail too, which I don't feel like I want to just change a title, and then if I change the title, I'm gonna change the thumbnail too. And like I said, I know there's a lot of YouTubers immediately after they upload the video, the first bit, then hours later come back later to the video, everything is completely changed. And I keep it as it is, as long as it's doing views. I mean, people still call them retro stores too. Also, it's like there's no really, I mean, the proper name is legacy stores, but some people still call them like the retro stores. But it's like it's there, so I'm not about to appreciate it. But like it ain't gonna change nothing. It's not gonna change nothing. I mean, Piesville's still kicking ass anyway, so it's not gonna change nothing as of right now. Fifth favorite topic, we already discussed these bad boys, which leads us to birthdays, concert, and some other ones. So let's say fourth favorite, yeah. You guys comments lost my train of thought. My fourth favorite for sure will have to be, God damn it. That's a hard one. Oh yeah, what can we expect from the 2023 birthday show? That's gonna be like my fourth favorite topic. I think I did really well with that one. I think like under the algorithm, under a day went to like 1K and then started skyrocketing crazy. Which leave us to number 5 will be the birthday star extravaganza review. Is it that good? Sometimes I look at these and like these could have been really good discussions, but I'm so glad they're topics. And this one was actually really a good one to make. I will be doing a follow up actually about how can they improve the birthday show and stuff. So hopefully, whenever I get free time after this other project, I'll get to it. And now we're down to the final 3. Okay, right off the bat, this is my third favorite. Um, this is my third favorite. I barely watched this one. This is my second favorite. This did not take me long to do. Literally after the newsletter came out around that time in April, I immediately started the topic, and I think it took me about like a few days to work on that particular video. And it was like the first video for the podcast, and that did really well. Uh, Nice good call feedback, and it's my least favorite because this was just like an old topic that I was just rehashing an old topic with some reused stuff. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. Nope, they don't call them the residencies anymore either. I mean, I said in my video, like, whatever you want to call it is totally fine with you. But then you're going to have your smart ass fans talking about, oh, they're called legacy stores. But it's like, all right, whatever you want to call it, it's totally fine by you. I mean, there's really no correct acronym to it whatsoever. So, you know, I mean, people still call them retro stores either way, or residencies or legacy stores. I mean, again, whatever fits your preference, that's totally fine with you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's the wrong name. It's called legacy stores. No, whatever you like to call it, that's totally fine with you. It don't bother me, but it might bother somebody else in the room, but it wouldn't bother me what you call it. You can still call it, oh, this Chuck E. Cheese, and it's like, cool, cool. Um, but I'm excited to hopefully finish wrapping up this project soon as well. As I mentioned, or maybe have mentioned for those who have listened yesterday, I'm actually working on the brand new topic, which is the top 10 best and worst modern modern rockstar CDC songs. Modern rocks, yeah, I said it right. I'm actually working on that as of right now. Hopefully, I recorded the intro. I just redid some two scripts for the lines, and hopefully I can have start the rest of the process soon. So I'm taking a pause right now on the 2.0 topic because I feel like that's a lot to really take in. So I'm gonna try to pull content out on here first, and then I'm gonna get back to the 2.0 topic, the long-awaiting video that we'll probably talk about for a very good while. That video is gonna be talked about for a very, really good while in the community. I have a lot of other ideas before we do the official release and stuff. I do not want to sit here and talk about what those plans are just yet. All I can say is just be prepared whenever the time does get near, because I feel like this project needs to go all out, like really go all out. So just be prepared for hopefully for whatever I got in plan. So when the time is right, I want to say when the time is right. But all right, so with all that out the way, we're about to end it up here for tonight. We're about to end this little stream up now for tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining in tonight. As always, it was a lot of fun. Chatting and stuff, and thankfully we finally got this whole video out the way with Steve Whitmire. So yay for that. So as +2, we not be going stream starting the remainder of the week, because I'll be out of town Wednesday. Hopefully a lot of new content will be filmed despite the weather going crazy, but it doesn't matter, because what we're gonna do on a rainy day. We're gonna go to Chuck E. Cheese's and wear umbrellas and stuff, and I gotta fold up clothes too, so I hate just staying in bed like that. But anyway, can't wait for you guys to see all the brand new content that's going to be coming out with some new vlogs. And of course, I can't wait to tell you guys how the concert went as well. I'm going to try my best to film everything at this concert, honestly. So that one. Shit, I forgot to explain about that one. Yeah, I should probably explain myself for that. So that one is fucking shoulders killing me. So that one Don posted on his TikTok actually, and it wasn't supposed to be uploaded at first. Well, I mean, not from TikTok wise. I mean, for the channel wise. I forgot the reason behind it, but I think he texted me, or did I text him? I don't remember. About that performance that he had on TikTok of it, and he had sent me the video. Let me see. Remember if I could messages, because I remember he said Chuck E. Cheese posted it on their Instagram page about it. Let me look right now. Let me find his name. Let's see. All right. That was. Oh, never mind. Okay, so this was around like March. He posted it on his TikTok. So like March 2nd, Chuck E. Cheese DM to him saying that they love his performance. Can they, have repost it with permission? And he said sure. So I asked him, can I use it for YouTube? And he said, yeah, he's gonna send me the whole thing. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna do a whole compilation. That was originally the plan, but and then he sent me to Drive, and so that's what happened. Yeah, he's still at the office. Which, before we go, I'll play it actually. Mark is still at office. Yeah. So here's what. Okay, true. So here's what they posted, which was this right here.
We're here for the good time, bringing that fun like full time, just like this. Woo! So bring it to me one time, make it feel like sunshine, just like this. Yep. We're here for the good time, bringing that fun like full time, just like this. Hey, so bring it to me one time, get you feeling like sunshine, just like this. So jump it for the ceiling, just like this, cause I love it when we're feeling just like this. Got your hands clapping, just like this, and we're gonna make it happen, just like this. Hey, it goes this way, we're bringing big fun like every day, non-stop. Because it feels so good, we just can't stop, and even if we could, we're not. And this fun is free, so come on everyone, have fun with me. Not waiting at the starting line, let's get going, it's party time. The party can't start without you, we're feeling that fun like you. The party can't start without you, we're feeling that fun like you. Hey, here we go.
Yep, so that's a little taste of what you see this Friday coming up, as they put in their catching as well. Warning: our springtime deals may cause excessive dancing. Side effects include fun, laughter, and just one more. So it's obvious they're promoting the video because of the deals that they're having for spring and stuff. But yeah, yep, it's a good video. You're gonna love it when you see it Friday. But I didn't think that they was gonna post it and stuff to their channel. Not channel, sorry. Social media page. Honestly, I didn't think they would, and I kind of forgot about it too after that conversation we had. But to say that you made it up to that point, it's crazy. But you're gonna love it Friday. It's a really good video. Like, as far as I'm aware, that's the last one I have from him as of now, because I don't think we're gonna have another live show until, I guess, February or so. So, but that's coming out Friday. So I'll be in the chat Friday too, since you know, exactly, they should. They really should. But you know, whoever runs their social media page, you know, they care to listen. But you know, who to say that we are to be request spoken on? But I agree with that. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I gotta put clothes up, and I did say I was gonna pack tonight, but I might pack another day. I don't know yet, because I still got a lot of planning to do for this weekend, and I got like technically 4 days left. Wait, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, I got 4 days left until we head out there. So you might get lucky tomorrow. I don't know yet. You might get lucky tomorrow. I might do one more stream tomorrow. You guys might get lucky tomorrow. Don't put your hopes up though. Don't put your hopes up though. You might get lucky. I don't know yet. If I'm really that good, and if I really, really like you all, and I'm gonna do it for you guys, then maybe. I don't know. All depends, because you know, I might start packing Monday. I'm not sure yet. But all right, you guys, you gotta enjoy the rest of your night. I'm about to take care of this now, because I'll probably doing this later, and I'm gonna get ready for work tomorrow. So that's fun. All right, I'll catch you all in the next stream. So bye, you guys. Stay safe, stay positive, and yeah. Look like a military cut too, by the way. Forgot to mention that. But yeah, you guys stay cool, stay cheesy, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.